What about now? Can you guys hear it? All right, so I'm coming through okay? All right. Lima Charlie from Old Dirty Blaster. All right, it's coming through. Yeah, that's weird. Sorry, guys. So I'm using a new system here because everybody said you got to use StreamYard to do this stuff. So I'm attempting to do this, and I'm hoping that the comments come in a lot faster because the old program that I was using, it seemed like it had like a minute delay or something like that. So hopefully these aren't delayed like some of the other ones. All right, I'm going to give it a couple minutes. Let me see if see again with these programs, I still can't see who's all in here. I mean, I can see the comments, but it doesn't tell me how many people are in here. Obviously, a foreign government was trying to silence you. Yeah, Eddie, you know what? You're right, dude. I think I think that's the case. I mean, I'm getting like weird text messages and all sorts of stuff. So we got 13 people in here. Okay. Yeah, you guys are going to have to be my eyes on this stuff because apparently this program doesn't tell me either. But yeah, let me know if you like this new layout, by the way. Yeah. Eddie's always right, guys, by the way. Eddie's become my really, really good friend. He's another great Orthodox Christian. And him and I are going to be apocalyptic warlords when everything pops off, just so everybody knows. All right. So let me do this real quick. I'm just going to make a quick post, see if I can get some people in here from the other social medias real quick. But yeah, welcome to the late night Spiritual Frontlines Intel SITREP, guys. This one's going to be a little fun. I got a lot of stuff to go over, actually, because things have been a little crazy. And by the way, I haven't been able to put anything out. I've been extremely busy with family and all that other stuff, and it's been crazy. But I will have the Orthodox Canon of Preparedness Unseen Warfare episode on St. Paisios coming out this week, either Friday or Saturday. I'm working on the edits right now, and I should have that uploaded because we're actually going out of town as a family for a little quick vacation for my son's birthday. But that will be up this weekend, so that is going up. I know I promised you guys that I was going to put it out a lot earlier, but I haven't had a chance to do it. So we still got 13. Real quick, let me just get this posted on Facebook real quick. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. Vigo's in the house. What's up, Vigo? How you doing, man? Randall, what's going on? All right, so let me go ahead and put this in. All right, let's see if we get some more people in here. Again, let me know how many are in here. We still got what? Oh, we got 19. Thanks, old dirty blaster. Thank you so much, man. All right, we got 19. Yeah, I think I'm doing these kind of late, so like I think the East Coast is kind of sleeping at this point. I think that's kind of the problem. I mean to do these and 3 likes, thumbs up. Okay. Well, yeah, we got to get more likes in there. If there's 19 of you guys, make sure you like this video. We got to let the algorithm know that it needs to push this. Make sure you guys do that. But yeah, a lot of stuff to go over tonight. A lot of stuff that I prepared. We're going to go through some articles. We're going to go through some videos and kind of look at the situation that we have in front of us, because we're absolutely being lied to. Again, I mean, it's normal, right? I think we're used to it at this point. But as Orthodox Christians, I think it's important to be kind of up on this stuff, just so you know that, clearly we're being deceived. I'm not falling for it. I know most of you guys are not falling for it. But either way, when we get this message out there, hopefully it wakes other people up so that they don't fall into this delusion that they're feeding us right now. But yeah, major escalations are happening. Nice to see you live. Look at that. Thank you, Liz. Christ is king, always and forever. Thanks, Kyle. What's up, man? Glory to God always. Thanks, Vigo. All right, we got 26. It's going up. It's going up. I think we can move with 26. What do you guys think? Should we get into it? Let me know in the comments. Quick hi from Sydney, Australia. Marco, what's up? Živ bio, brate. It's my Serbian brother from Australia right there. Pomaže Bog. $26, all right. Yeah, you will get more people in. Thanks, Liz. Yeah, once they realize I'm live. All right. So hopefully more people jump in. Either way, I want to get the message out. You guys can share this stuff afterwards. So yeah, a lot of things have happened over the last week. Obviously, you guys have seen a lot of this stuff, but there's so much information, so much stuff that they're throwing at us, and it's insane. There's a lot of information. One crazy thing that's happening is the markets are clearly being manipulated by Trump. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that one's kind of interesting. I think we had these weird trades that come into the market, like billions of dollars worth, that happen like right before he happens to like say something. It's almost like they know what he's going to say, and then the markets, react accordingly. I think that's something that needs to be investigated, actually, because it's someone's making a lot of money off of a lot of these, Truth Social posts that Trump puts out, right? The things that he says, or if he goes on and does a press conference or whatever it is. But it seems like people have advanced knowledge of what he's going to say, and they trade accordingly. That's just absolutely insane that that's happening, that we're making money off of people's misery. But so what I did is, once again, I prepared a nice little brief for you guys. So what's the operational picture that we're looking at right now? Strategic overview. The conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran continues to escalate across multiple domains. Air and missile strikes, regional militia activity, naval deployments, expanding troop movements, diplomatic messaging about negotiations continues, but military deployments indicate preparation for further escalation is what's obviously actually happening. We have major military movements, strategic airlift surges across the United States. Large numbers of Boeing C-17 Globemaster III flights have basically moved troops and equipment from U.S. bases to the Middle East. Reported ongoing. The reported origin bases include Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg is what that is, Fort Stewart, Fort Campbell, Joint Base Lewis McChord. Destinations include Ovda Air Base and King Faisal Air Base. Those are destinations inside of Israel and Jordan. These flights indicate logistical reinforcement of U.S. regional posture. So when Trump's sitting there telling us that, he's this close to making a deal, this posturing doesn't indicate that at all. So that's not what's happening. So we're preparing for a much bigger conflict here. Rapid deployment forces. Elements of the 82nd Airborne Division are reportedly deploying. This unit specializes obviously in airborne assault, rapid crisis response, and seizing key terrain. That's going to be key with what we're talking about today. Their movement signals expanded ground operations and readiness. We have a lot of naval posturing. We have the amphibious assault ship USS Boxer. That's LHD-4. That's moving into the theater. And that's basically being deployed obviously in the region. The whole purpose of that is bringing in, Marine expeditionary units. We have thousands of them now being deployed to the Middle East, helicopters and strike aircraft and amphibious assault capacity. These forces enable rapid, limited ground operations. So we're obviously preparing for something a lot bigger than what they're alluding to. Let me pull something up real quick. You guys can see that banner at the bottom of the screen, right? Watch this. Kind of impressive. Kind of do it like the news now, which is pretty cool. So I am glad that I'm using this program, by the way, but I'm going to have to learn how to use it. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. So next, we have the Iraq escalation. A lot of people are not wanting to talk about that because after 20 plus years, apparently we just lost Iraq too. And we're going to go through a lot of those reports. But yeah, reports indicate Iraq may have authorized the popular mobilization forces to retaliate after strikes killed militia fighters. We'll go through those articles. If operationalized, this could open a whole new battlefield inside of Iraq targeting U.S. forces. So that's a whole new theater that's actually opening. So obviously this is now turning into a major regional conflict, even though they, still report, and MAGA's weird. They're out there. They're like, oh, this is just a military operation. But yeah, that's not what this is. Iranian messaging. Iranian officials have issued warnings emphasizing their asymmetric warfare doctrine. The message directed at U.S. forces is basically come closer. We're going to see that from an Iranian official over here shortly. Iran's strategy focuses on missile forces, drones, proxy militias, and maritime disruption. Market activity. So we have large financial trades that are going on, obviously. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of market manipulation. People are making a lot of money off of this conflict. It's weird how they make these big trades after Trump basically, announces temporary pause in strikes while we're basically building up for a much larger conflict. It's totally weird. But I mean, these guys are like 6 timesing their money. And so the SEC needs to start investigating this activity. Obviously, the trades involve large S&P futures purchases, major oil futures positions. And this has raised, obviously, questions among analysts and about possible market anticipation and geopolitical developments. Yeah, this is a problem. Because if we have members of our government and their buddies making a lot of money off of this war based off of what this president is saying, I think it's a massive problem. Operational assessment. Let's go into that. Current military posture suggests preparation for several possible contingencies. Continued air war, maritime conflict in the Gulf, limited ground operations, regional escalation involving militias. And so our current escalation level, we're at a level 2 and a level 3, basically. So we have direct strikes and we have maritime confrontation that's pretty much inbound. Ground operations have not yet begun, but we're going to talk about that on where that's actually going. Then we need to talk about Kharg Island because that's coming up a lot in like a lot of these reports that you see. By the way, this is like a horrible idea to even try to take that, and I'm going to explain. We're going to actually break that down tonight. But anyway, here we go. So obviously, Kharg is a strategic target. Why? Kharg Island handles the majority of Iran's oil exports, and it makes it one of the most important economic nodes in the country. So they think that by taking Kharg, they can actually control this, and this is going to be a major hit to Iran. The geographic reality of it, though, is it's 25 kilometers from the Iranian mainland. I want to say that's around 15 miles. It's 500 kilometers inside of the Persian Gulf from the Strait of Hormuz, which we apparently can't get into yet. Obviously, a small island. It's 8 kilometers long. It's super small, and so this means that it sits basically inside of Iran's defensive missile envelope. And that's key because they can hit that thing at will if we put a bunch of forces on it. And we're going to break that down. I have like a full intel brief that I kind of prepared on Kharg Island specifically. Naval access, ships would need to travel hundreds of kilometers inside of the Gulf under missile threat. That's the key. That's the problem. They keep saying, they want to open the strait, but they're obviously not going in to open the strait. Why are they not going in there? Because it's literally a kill box. It's a fatal funnel. Putting our ships in there and going along that coastline. Number one, Strait of Hormuz is, it's like 20 miles wide, right? It's a horrible place to put a bunch of ships in. But once they pass that, they have basically 500 kilometers to Kharg Island. So if you deploy troops, maybe the 82nd Airborne that we're just deploying, maybe they jump in. The only way that they're going to get back up is with these ships, and these ships are going to have to travel through a long corridor that's basically a major fatal funnel, and those ships are going to get hit. I think this is a disaster. I think it's stupid. The fact that they're even thinking of doing this, I mean, it just makes you wonder, like, who's in charge. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oil terminals are obviously extremely vulnerable on the island. I mean, the island's literally littered with with tankers. It's all oil. Everything is oil. You hit that thing goes up, and you have a bunch of troops on it. Good luck. People are going to die. It's absolutely horrible. So the strategic paradox, Kharg obviously creates a paradox, right? It's a high value target, but it's extremely difficult to hold. That's the big question is, are they going to be able to hold it? And I don't think they will. The island's obviously easy to strike, but it's very difficult to occupy. That's the key kind of takeaway. And we're going to go into that here in a little bit. I don't want to quite get into that right now. I want to get into some of this other stuff. But let me look at some of the comments here. Imperial Eagle, it returned back to brag on 2/14/25. I don't know what that what was that in regard. So I missed some of these. Let me go through these real quick. Nice banner. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, right? Anyone who still believes anything these people say, can you please explain to me why? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are people that obviously believe this. I mean, I deal with these people on social media like daily, and it's insane. It's like this guy can apparently he can do no wrong. I voted for him 3 times, but he's become a complete disaster. I'm going to admit that. It's wild to me that people can't see that. So the cultists, the ones that literally worship him, the idolaters, the real idolaters, they're they're still worshiping him, and they will believe anything he says, which is just wild. I got messages popping in on sorry about that, guys. Moving up. Yeah, Imperial moving on up. Yeah, I'm moving on up, man. I'm trying to make this as great as possible. But the problem is there's like a learning curve behind this stuff. This program's not that bad. It's actually pretty easy to use. I think I'm starting to kind of get the hang of it a little bit, but hopefully it gets better over time. That's what I'm hoping. But one thing that I do want to talk about is obviously, there's things that they're not telling us, like kind of what's going on inside of Israel, especially in Gaza, because right now they're using this opportunity to do some absolutely horrible things. I'm going to play a video for you guys so you guys can actually see this. Let me go over here. I kind of want to get into this real quick. You guys can let me know what you think. Let me see. Nope, it's this one right here. You guys can see that, right? Let me play this video real quick. This guy does a really good assessment as to like what's going on. It's absolutely horrible, but this is stuff that you're not going to see in our media here. So let's go ahead and play this real quick. By the way, that's absolutely insane. So obviously they're taking this opportunity as best as possible to continue their genocide inside of Gaza, and it's absolutely insane. By the way, these are supposedly God's chosen people. This is what they're doing to, by the way, Christians, Orthodox Christians that live inside of Palestine, and Muslims. I mean, this is, and anybody that thinks that Jesus condones this, like Trump's faith advisor there, these people are absolutely demonic and sick. But yeah, that's just wild. So they're obviously under the fog of war. They're taking the opportunity to continue to do this. But let's go ahead and, well, yeah, there you go. God's chosen people just committing genocide, doing whatever they can, and they're doing it everywhere. I mean, this is their plan. I mean, again, this is all part of their greater Israel project. This is what they're doing. I want to address this super chat. Thank you, Josh, by the way. Joshua Smith, these people are all liars. Yep, absolutely. Let me look at the full one here. I got it up on the screen, but I'm trying to see the full message. Yeah, see, it doesn't show me the full message even with this program. I gotta figure out how to use this guy. Sorry. Yeah, but thank you for the super chat. Thank you for blessing this channel. God bless you, man. Yeah, they're all liars, but obviously they're taking the opportunity um, to obviously do what they do. Right? It's horrible. It's demonic. It's evil, and somehow they're trying to con the American public into supporting that. Um, but it's not going so well for them. If you guys have seen what Tel Aviv looks like after Iranian strikes, it's not looking so good. And by the way, I mean we don't glorify in any of this stuff. It's as Christians we don't do that, right? This is horrible on all sides. War is not okay. Pretty sure Jesus would not approve. But either way, yeah, it's absolutely despicable. Let me go through some of these chants. I think somebody brought up something on Lloyd's of London and the what I thought about. Yeah, so the insurance, the insurance is Lloyd's of London is basically canceling all the insurance. No one wants to insure these tankers that are in the Strait of Hormuz are trying to get out because at this point, like it's ludicrous to even think that they would. I mean, we talked about rising insurance costs. Now they're canceling them. The oil's not even insured. So if those things go up in flames, there's no one's getting their money back. This was a horrible, horrible thing that we did. And the problem is see, they don't want to show you, but I think the administration is realizing, I mean, someone's got to realize that this is absolutely idiotic what they did. They have to see this. I mean, I hope that they do. Obviously, they're not going to show us that, but this is a disaster. Australia is completely almost out of gas right now. They've already started rationing. So apparently in Australia, it's going to be like Mad Max in the Thunderdome. God forbid. It's absolutely horrible. Eddie super chat here. Iran hit Israel's white phosphorus plant today. Yeah. I didn't see that one, but that's good. I mean, because Israel's using white phosphorus, which is against the Geneva Convention. They've been using it in Lebanon, Gaza. They've been doing it for a long time. So this is an absolute war crime. So actually, God willing, they actually took that out, and they can't do that to people anymore. That would actually be a good thing. Thank you for the super chat, Eddie. God bless you, brother. Let me look at some of these comments real quick. No sound. Someone says, no sound. Can you guys hear me? Did the sound just go out again? See, these are kind of delayed still. And I got to figure out how to like use a program that gets these comments in a lot faster. Sorry about that, guys. There wasn't any sound on the video. Really? That's so weird. I'm wondering if that's like a setting. Well, we might have to skip the videos if we can't hear that. Nobody heard the video I played. Yeah, sorry guys. So weird. I don't know why. It's I wonder if it's like another setting. No. I'm gonna have to play with that. I might have to do like I might need to bring somebody in. Maybe Eddie can help me out. We're gonna do like interview style, and we're gonna mess with this stuff and see if I can figure out how to use this, or I'm gonna have to take like the Chat GPT class on how to use StreamYard. Sorry, guys. So yeah, anyway, that video, I'll just summarize it for you. So they're basically using the fog of war inside of Israel, inside of Gaza right now to, just they're literally killing children, Palestinian children inside of Gaza. There's multiple children that were killed. They're doing this inside of Lebanon as well. And so, while the world's basically watching, the war right now with Iran, and they're, trying to pay attention to that, Israel's using that cover to continue their mass genocide of the Palestinian people and other people inside of Lebanon. Obviously includes Christians. I think last time we talked about the Catholic priest that was killed by Israeli forces and the IDF. So yeah, they're it's absolutely horrible. But anyway, that's what the video was. I'm going to summarize it for you real quick. It was just showing the atrocities of what they're continuing to do. Let me see. There was a Liz has her super chat over here. Only you can hear the video. We can't. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. God bless you, Liz. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why. The last program, OBS, had no problem. You guys could hear it. I don't know. It's got to be some kind of a setting in here. I might have to figure that out later. So maybe we'll just stay away from the videos. Where I actually did want to play another one from Valhalla VFT, but I might not be able to do that. We'll probably just go through the articles. Let me look at some of the comments. Yeah, brother, I'm new to Orthodoxy, and you reinforce my journey from time to time. Well, God bless you. Thank you. I hope so. And again, when I do this geopolitical breakdown stuff, guys, I'm not doing this because, listen, as Orthodox Christians, we shouldn't be dwelling here at all. It's okay to be aware of it, and we should be aware of the deception, I should say. But we need to know what's going on around us so that we're not fooled into anything. That's the point of me doing this stuff. But ultimately, I also kind of want to show how ludicrous some of this stuff is, because these political systems, these political figures, they're never going to save you, right? This is all, we're called to die to the world, right? And these people are not going to save you. I found this out the hard way in my personal life. So my goal of this is exposing this stuff to bring you guys back to Christ, because we need to remain in the church, the sacraments. We need to pray. We need to work. We need to repent. That's the purpose of all this stuff. So I try to use this to hopefully bring people out of it. That's the goal of what I'm doing with at least these types of videos. But Let me look at some of these. Having a problem with doing the same split screen. Let me see who said that real quick. Let me take this down. Sorry, I got to scroll through these things, so I'm not able to. Andre, I'm having a problem with doing this same script, screen split setup as well with OBS. Yeah, OBS is free. This one I actually have to pay a lot of money for, apparently. I just got to learn how to use it. So hopefully I'll figure out how to like get the sound from these videos the next time we do this. This is supposed to be a lot better than OBS. OBS is actually great when I'm using it to shoot like my regular videos that like I pre-record and put out for you guys. But this one in particular is supposed to be better. So we'll see. This will let me actually bring on other guests, which I plan on doing for you guys as well. And hopefully I'll have Father Peter Hears on here soon to talk about prophecy. Him and I were discussing that stuff. So I'm hoping that that happens soon. Eddie, thank you, man. Another $4.99 super chat. God bless you, brother. It says, the U.S. just deployed AH-64 Apaches along Iran's southern coastline to target fast attack boats, drones, and naval assets threatening shipping. Yeah, plus I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to weaken any coastal defenses that they do have, because I think the game here is they are planning for a ground invasion. They're talking about drafts. They're talking about I mean, they just raised the age for enlistment into the military. They also lowered the standards. That was actually the video that I was going to play from Valhalla VFT. If you go check it out on his channel, because I'm not going to be able to play it here apparently. But he was talking about, you know, they lowered, or I'm sorry, they raised the age to 42, I believe, 42 or 43. For enlistment, and they lowered the standards. Now, if you have any drug offenses, got caught smoking weed or doing anything like that, they don't care about that anymore. They just want you. Uncle Sam needs you, right? We got to go fight this war and die for Israel, guys. That's the whole point of what they're doing. Thank you for the super chat, Eddie. I appreciate you, brother. All his people. Okay, let me see here. What does it say? All these people, okay, call them Satanists, nothing. This is from Nanad. Trying to read this. Yeah, they're Satanists. Yeah, all these people are Satanists. It's Israel you're speaking about. It's just a tiny part of the greater plan of fallen angels, and simple as that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jesus calls them the synagogue of Satan in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. But somehow Christian Zionists in America, you know, these evangelicals are, you know, worshiping the Israeli flag. And then they call us Orthodox Christians idolaters for venerating icons. Just weird. But yeah, these people are absolutely satanic and demonic. Anyway, let me pull up this other thing. Let's go through some of this, some of these articles. Let me get this back on here real quick. You guys should be able to see that. So yeah, USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier leaves Middle East amid Iran fight. This one's funny because what they're claiming is that it was like a fire inside of it was caused by lint inside of their dryer chute, apparently, and it took out the whole aircraft carrier. And now they're reporting actually that it's going to take anywhere from 12 to 14 months to bring it back into commission. So that's just basically their way of saying Iran hit the boat. It's taken out of commission, it's severely damaged, and it's got to leave. So they got it out of there. This is also the second aircraft carrier, by the way. They did this with USS Abraham as well, Abraham Lincoln. That one's gone. That one's no longer in play either. And, you know, they're telling us that, you know, there's issues with them and toilet clogged up on that one. This one was dryer lint. But let's read this article real quick. So United States' largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, on Monday reached Crete, Greece for repairs after leaving the Middle East due to a fire on board. Photos from AFP show that the aircraft carrier arrived at Suda Bay Naval Base, where it had last stopped in February for food, fuel, and ammunition. The ship was damaged due to a fire in the laundry room on March 12th amid the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war in Iran. So Iran didn't take it out, guys. The laundry chute with the dryer lint that caught on fire took out the largest, most advanced aircraft carrier that we have in our entire arsenal. This is like the golden child of the DoD, by the way. And so dryer lint took it out, according to them. So with the with the Ford now in Greece, the U.S. military only has one aircraft carrier in the war against Iran unless Washington sends another such vessel to replace it, leaving a gap for U.S. forces in the Middle East. Funny. I don't know how they plan on fighting this war. We also have, I believe, like 13 bases in the Middle East that are completely decimated by Iran. Again, they don't want to tell you that. You got to find all these reports elsewhere. You're going to have to go to international sources to find this stuff. But yeah, we're not doing so well there either. I don't know how we're going to deploy from anywhere. Like, this is turning into a major disaster. So it says the Navy said at the Gerald Ford, the Ford arrived at Suda Bay for maintenance and repairs on Monday, but remains fully mission capable. That's a lie, by the way, because today, this was, I think, yesterday's article. Today, they said it's going to be out of commission for the next 12 to 14 months from dryer lint that caught on fire. So the port call allows for the ship to undergo efficient assessment, repairs, and resupply. Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group continues its overseas deployment. It's said in a statement. It's not going to continue anything for 14 months, but okay. The ship, along with the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, has played a key role in the Trump administration's war against Tehran, housing dozens of aircraft and thousands of service members, supporting a massive air campaign against Iran. The Ford has been at sea for nearly 9 months after departing Norfolk, Virginia in June. Initially sent to the European theater, the vessel was then ordered to head to the Caribbean as the Pentagon was establishing a massive military presence near Venezuela. And I don't even know if I should go through all of this. Okay, yeah, we know they took out Maduro. The ship has experienced problems since arriving in the Middle East, reportedly suffering issues with its toilet system. Oh, this one had a toilet issue too, followed by the laundry room fire, which injured 2 sailors and damaged some 100 beds. I mean, I don't know. This is just, it's wild to me that, like, this is the kind of stuff that they come up with. It injured 2 sailors. I mean, you would think if something caught fire on a naval ship that, like, I'm pretty sure they have like I mean, I was never in the Navy, but like pretty sure they have fire extinguishers everywhere. And like, if a fire happened to break out, like, they'd be able to put it out like pretty easily. You don't take out a whole ship, but yeah, as of today's reports, it's out for 14 months. So 12 to 14. Maybe they could do it in 12, guys. We'll see. But yeah, so the Lincoln and the Ford are gone. They're out of the theater. And so, you know, now they're saying that they need to send additional ships over there. See, the problem is by the way, this apparently got hit. I mean, they haven't even entered the Strait of Hormuz, right? They're in the Arabian Sea with this stuff. You know, and I don't know how they're going to get these ships in there. They've already lined everything with mines. This is an absolute disaster. But yeah, that's where we are. So Iran-U.S. war latest. Tehran says it's reviewing Trump's peace proposal, but has no intention to talk to the U.S. And it's funny because, you know, Trump just told us that, you know, everything's great. You know, they got these back channels and they're this close to a deal. But that's not what Iran says. So top Iranian officials are reviewing proposals offered by the Trump administration to end the war, Iran's foreign minister has said, but Tehran has no intention of holding direct talks with the U.S. Abbas, I'm going to butcher this, Arachi, I guess, said messages have been exchanged via mediators, but this does not mean negotiations with the U.S. were ongoing. He said Tehran had demanded a permanent end to the war and compensation. And I have a list of that stuff. They want full compensation for everything that we've basically destroyed inside of Iran. Earlier, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said President Donald Trump was prepared to unleash hell on Iran if Tehran did not come to the negotiation table. President Trump does not. By the way, I don't know how you get people to a negotiation table by saying such stupid things. Like, if you don't do this, I'm going to decimate you guys. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about there. The fact that people think that, like, and by the way, they're clearly not scared. They're telling us, come on, put your troops on the ground. Let's go. They're killing us in an asymmetric war right now. We're not winning. So, like, all this tough talk is just, it's absolutely ridiculous. It makes zero sense. Cannon fodder, Imperial Eagle. Yeah, absolutely. That was probably in regards to the ships there. Is there a delay coming through, or is this okay? Rovo Gaming TV, love the content, bro. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I heard a claim that the sailors on the Gerald Ford. Yeah, Gerald Ford. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard there's a lot of mutiny going on. There's a bunch of filings of like conscientious objectors, like soldiers saying, "I'm not going to fight in this war." So I think they're having, and this is why I think they're leaning towards a draft. I think that's the thing here. I think you have a lot of soldiers that are not wanting to fight this war, and they're trying to do whatever they can to get out of it. But yeah, as far as Iran, I mean, basically everything that the U.S. is doing is like the exact opposite. And every time they talk about negotiating, it's another thing. Iran has said that a million times. They don't want to negotiate with us because every time we've entered into negotiations, we've, or they've tried to enter negotiations with us, we bomb them. Happened twice already. I mean, I don't know. If I was Iran, I probably wouldn't want to negotiate with anybody like that anymore either. How do you trust somebody like that? This is the art of the deal, by the way. The master negotiator. The U.S. has confirmed that the deployment of troops to the Middle East after Iran reportedly sent back the excessive demands of Mr. Trump's peace plan. The Pentagon confirmed to The Independent on Wednesday that some elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, some division enablers, and the 1st Brigade Combat Team would be deployed to the region. They're not deploying them, by the way, to negotiate with Iran. That's not happening. So Trump says Iran has agreed to no nuclear weapons and major concessions. Like, this is the stuff that's like, the stuff that comes out of his mouth is crazy. I would play this video, but you guys can't hear it. So I'm just not going to do that. We'll go ahead and read the article. But yeah, Trump says Iran has agreed to no nuclear weapons and major concession. By the way, let me tell you what. After the way this has gone, and by the way, they have no nuclear weapons. They had no nuclear weapons. They've complied with all of the inspections that Israel doesn't actually need to comply with, apparently. I don't know if you guys know that. Israel is the only nation on earth that doesn't need to comply with nuclear inspections. Every country does. U.S., Russia, China, North Korea, all of them comply. Every single one of them. Iran was complying. They had no nukes. We found out after, obviously, Joe Kent resigned this last week that, they had no nuclear capability whatsoever. And we 100% went into this war with Israel, because of Israel, I should say. So it's just wild to me that it's just crazy that the messaging anyway, let's read this. For the sake of comedy, let's read this. President Trump said Iran has agreed to the biggest demand in order to stop the war: no nuclear weapons. By the way, if this was my point that I was making. If you treated me like this, if I was Iran, I would absolutely want to get nukes after this, by the way. You know why? Because if you and I sit down at a negotiation table, if we got to sit down and talk, right? And you got a gun and I got a gun, we got to talk. That's how that works. It's a negotiation tactic. So going forward, they're going to want nukes. I would want nukes. I think a lot of countries right now that don't have them, considering how this is played out, are going to say, yeah, I better go get some nukes. Because if I don't have them, they're just going to attack my country. That's where we're at. So, yeah, they've agreed, he said, they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. Tehran has not stated that publicly. Interesting. and denied even talking to the U.S. But Trump has made it clear that no nukes demand is necessary for the U.S. to stop in its military campaign. But see, he says stuff like, oh, they've already agreed to it, when they haven't. They're not even talking to the guy. So this is just comical to me. The stuff that comes from this administration. It's like that movie Idiocracy. If you guys haven't seen that, you need to go watch that movie, because it's apparently a prophecy for the future of America. But did this looks like this thing froze on me. Did this freeze on you guys? Yeah, my screen's frozen over here. I'm hoping that it comes back, because the comments are not even coming through. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Looks like everything froze up on me. I don't know if you guys can. I can't see anything coming through right now. It's completely frozen on my screen. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. We got technical difficulties. There we go. All right. Now it's coming through. Technology. Gotta love it. North Korea has offered Iran nukes. Yeah. I mean, and I think, by the way, I think that's going to be a reality. So if the whole purpose of this thing, by the way, was to ensure that they don't have nuclear capabilities, yeah, that's not going to work out so well. They're definitely 1,000%. They're going to go pursue nukes. I would. This is cause and effect, guys. Like these people live in a weird reality. They think they can muscle everybody around and do what they're doing. By the way, completely against his campaign promises. So Andre, yeah, you're right. All right. So this one right here is Iran rejects U.S. envoys in mediation talks, questions their credibility. So Iran has expressed strong reservations about the U.S.-linked figures involved in mediation efforts, telling intermediaries it does not trust envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, and it does not want them involved in future negotiations. Yeah, I wouldn't want those guys like anywhere near me. These are Trump's handlers, by the way. Those two guys that are Israel firsters, by the way. So, yeah, his son-in-law is his handler, by the way, along with Steve. But the guy that like is always, able to, this guy's, they got a handler in his family, and then they got Steve Witkoff who like follows him around everywhere he goes. But yeah, those guys are his handlers. So Trump doesn't make a move. He doesn't do anything without them. So according to diplomatic sources cited in discussions held in Ankara, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi conveyed Tehran's position during the contacts with Turkish officials, including Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, as part of the ongoing mediation efforts. The source said Iran considers the two envoys unreliable, describing previous engagements with them as not constructive and signaling a preference for alternative channels in any future diplomatic process. Yeah, because they've been a complete disaster. No one wants to talk to those guys. I wouldn't. Tehran reportedly indicated that it would favor indirect communication through third parties rather than engaging with figures it does not trust as part of efforts to demonstrate seriousness in any path towards de-escalation. So they're not directly talking to them. This is how we're going to do it in the future if we are going to do this. That's what this is. So these exchanges come within the framework of the broader Turkish-Egyptian mediation initiative supported by regional actors, including Saudi Arabia, aimed at preventing further escalation of the conflict and limiting its impact on energy security and regional stability. The proposed initiative includes an immediate temporary ceasefire, followed by negotiations potentially hosted in Istanbul or Muscat, with no preconditions and a flexible agenda. So no preconditions, according to what Washington put out today. They're not interested in preconditions. They want to talk through these third parties, and they'll decide what makes sense. So the mediation effort reflects growing regional concerns over the risk of prolonged conflict, particularly its potential to disrupt energy supplies and deepen instability across the Middle East. So this next one's going to be interesting. But yeah, so basically everything that's coming from Trump's mouth, hey, we've been talking to him over the weekend. He's like, hey, we were talking to him all weekend. Great talks happened, guys. Everything's great. We're going to do a 5-day ceasefire. Meanwhile, there's no ceasefire and targets keep getting hit. And right after he said that, we hit like critical energy infrastructure inside of Iran. That caused them to respond and hit areas inside of the Arab nations there, other critical infrastructure, where really this war has been a tit for tat, right? Iran waits for us to do something and then they respond. They're not just kind of blanket going out there and doing what they're doing. It doesn't fit the narrative that Washington has built around Iran at all. But bagels for peace from Andre. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. So this one's interesting. Iran war takes mounting toll on America's military. So U.S. war with Iran is taking a mounting toll on America's military, with rising casualties, dwindling munition stockpiles, and sidelined aircraft carrier and numerous down aircraft just 3 weeks into the conflict. I love the fact that they're actually reporting this, because this is obviously an American outlet. It's interesting that The Hill is actually putting this out there, because I think people do need to understand just how bad this is. So at least 13 U.S. service members have been killed, which, by the way, other reports show way higher than that. But okay, we'll stick with that for the time being. Another 232 have been injured since the U.S.-Israeli war against Tehran began on February 28th. In addition, some 16 American aircraft have been destroyed. The USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier was damaged in a laundry room fire. They're still sticking with that one, but that's okay. Earlier this month, and American forces are quickly blowing. They forgot the Abraham Lincoln as well. They're blowing through stocks of air defenses and long-range munitions. From a lot of the reports, Israel is almost completely out of interceptors. And so when it comes to manufacturing these Patriot defense systems or these missiles, even the THAADs, I mean, number one, it takes really long to manufacture even one of them. There's a serious amount of testing that goes into these things. So this isn't something that they can just whip out in a matter of days or weeks or whatever it is. It takes months. It takes way longer to do that. So if we're running low on these things, it's not good. I don't even know how you're going to support potential ground troops that are going into that region. This is absolutely dangerous and stupid. Now, it says now with reports that the Pentagon officials have made detailed preparations for deploying U.S. ground forces into Iran. So there you go. We're out of all these interceptors. We're running low on munitions, but we'll go ahead and send these guys in anyway. That's a genius plan. A move that's almost sure to be met by fierce retaliation from Tehran. Yep. Those losses could quickly increase. Experts say that developments in the Middle East threaten U.S. security in other areas of the world, namely the Indo-Pacific. The problem, I think, is several-fold, said Seth Jones, a former Pentagon official, now with the Center of Strategic and International Studies. You're taking an area that's not your top priority, and you're now sort of blown through readiness and maintenance issues with aircraft and ships that will be important for a China contingency operation. Yeah, you're not fighting China, guys. By the way, getting destroyed like this is just showing to China and Russia and everybody else out there just how much of a paper tiger America actually is. President Trump said Monday that the U.S. and Iran renewed talks over the latter's nuclear program over the weekend after he threatened to bomb Tehran's energy infrastructure if it did not reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Well, guess what? Strait of Hormuz is not open. We are in Wednesday right now. Going into this weekend, it's not going to be open. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. But clearly, yeah, energy prices continue to swing rapidly and crazily, and gas prices continue to go up everywhere. Australia is suffering massively right now because they're already rationing gas. It's horrible. But even with restarted negotiations, the U.S.-Israeli offensive in Iran continues, with reports Monday that senior military officials are weighing a possible deployment of a combat brigade for the Army's 82nd Airborne Division. The Pentagon also last week reportedly sped up the deployment of thousands more Marines and 3 warships to the region. By the way, it takes time for these ships to get there, guys. So this isn't going to be like overnight. And okay, set off of San Diego. So we have at least 2,200 Marines set off from San Diego aboard the amphibious assault ship, the USS Boxer, on Wednesday, 3 weeks sooner than expected, but it's still a month away from reaching the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility. So, I mean, it's going to be a while before they get there. So I don't know how they're going to buy time and what they plan on doing. Now, the 82nd Airborne, they're already in theater. They're there in the region right now. So it's quite possible that they're going to use the 82nd Airborne to potentially take Kharg Island, because they really want that for some reason. That deployment follows less than a week after the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, made up of 2,200 Marines and sailors, left for the area. So now it's like I think we have the numbers over here. I think we're like in the 10,000 range right now of new troops that are going down there. The additional troops to the Middle East come even as the Trump administration has downplayed the mounting costs of the conflict, by some accounts racking up $1 billion per day, as well as the broadening scope of the fighting. So $1 billion per day, but now you bring in, everything else, the troops and a potential ground invasion, and those costs significantly go up. And we just surpassed 39 trillion in the national debt. So this is great. This is how you make America great, apparently. Trump last week said that he's not putting troops anywhere, but the U.S. will do whatever is necessary to keep the price of oil down, amid reports Trump is considering sending troops into Iranian territory to force the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. By the way, going into Iran is suicide. If you guys have seen Iran, maybe I'll pull that up here in a little bit. Maybe we'll open up Google Earth or look at the map. But if you guys look at the topography of Iran, it's basically like the country's a giant fortress or a castle. It's absolutely insane. Let me get some of these super chats real quick. Randall, thank you for the $2 super chat, man. How should the U.S. help civilians against the regime? Right now, we're not helping them. And let me explain this real quick. When you start bombing a country the way that we are right now, anybody who is against that regime is very quickly going to start supporting that regime for their survival. This happens. It just is what it is. Nationalism rises. This is a historical pattern. It happens all the time. And you're going to see support for that regime increase, because bombing them into submission and having people and the public suffer is not how you get them to overthrow their government. It's not going to happen. It just won't. So that's just my take on it. I don't see that happening at all. It is what it is. Thank you for the super chat, though, Randall. I appreciate you, brother. God bless you. We got Eddie with the $4.99 super chat over here. My prophetic prediction is that assault starts Friday after the market closes. Your prophetic prediction, yeah. It's easy to make the prophetic predictions right now. Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. God bless you, bro. But yeah, I tend to agree that things could look interesting come this weekend. That I think this is what they're preparing for. There's a lot of crazy reports out there. I'm gonna show you some stuff over here. But I think after Easter, Randall, maybe that's a possibility. That's a possibility. I think it might be sooner, though. I don't think they want to wait much longer, because we look really stupid right now, and the rest of the world is really suffering because of what this has done to the energy markets. And so they might get desperate and they might actually try to attempt to reopen the strait, take Kharg Island, do whatever they're going to do in desperation. And unfortunately, that's going to get a lot of people killed. That's a horrible plan. And I'm gonna give you a full breakdown of Kharg Island. I did a whole intelligence brief that I wrote up on this, but we're gonna get into that here in a little bit. Andre, Eddie's right. Yeah, I think Eddie is right. Eddie, you're a prophet now, man. Everybody's got to know that Eddie's the prophet. But anyway, back to that article. Yeah, so sparking concerns of a longer war, the White House plans to ask Congress. Yeah, so they went and they asked Congress for another $200 billion, right? So we've already surpassed what they already approved for the defense budget, and they need more money because we're running out of money fast. And that's what Iran's doing. They're fighting this asymmetrically. So they're causing massive amounts of economic costs to the United States, and they will outlast us. This is literally what they prepared for 40 years, this fight right here. And it's designed to kill us economically. That's how they win this. It's the fact that these people don't know that. It's either they don't know, they're that stupid, okay? Or they don't care. And this is all on purpose to purposely destroy and sacrifice America for Israel. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. That's just, it is what it is. So, yeah, the costs of this are absolutely insane. At least 16 aircraft have been shot down or crashed, including 10 Reaper drones, 3 F-15s, a KC-135 tanker, American F-35 fighter jet was taken down. Today, they downed an F-18. And it's funny because every time they down something, we say that it was like friendly fire. So apparently we're shooting our own planes down, which is just absolutely insane. So a Reaper can cost $56.5 million a piece. F-15s can go for $90 million to $97 million. KC-135s are worth $70 million to $80 million. The F-35 is most costly, coming in at $90 million to $100 million per plane. And then we're, shooting out, $4 million Patriots, $14 million THAADs. That's per missile, by the way. And so you can see how this is just an economic disaster for the United States of America. Then take the fact that right now everybody is buying their oil in Chinese currency, the yuan. That's Iran's demands. That's what they're doing. Japan just folded the other day and said, "Yeah, we need our oil." So they paid for it in Chinese currency, not the U.S. dollar. And Iran is also charging $2 million per ship to get them out of the strait. The only ships that they're not allowing out of the strait are the U.S. and Israel ships. So, yeah, they're making money. And then Trump actually lifted the sanctions on Iran also to try to ease these prices. So China's making money. We're begging Russia, by the way, for their oil now. He lifted sanctions on Russia. So, we need that Russian oil now. So Russia's making money. China's making money. Iran is starting to finally make some money after sanctions and, the stuff we've done to them for 40 years. So, yeah, this is a lose-lose for us and a win-win for them. We're not doing well here. I mean, this is just crazy. And this is the American taxpayer that foots this bill, by the way. They steal your money, and this is what they fund. You got Hegseth out there the other day talking about how Iran is such a horrible country because they spent $10 billion on their military, $10 billion on their entire military infrastructure this last year, which comes out to $100 and some dollars per person. They have 90 million people in Iran. So it's $100 and some dollars per person. But the United States military budget is roughly almost $2 trillion every single year. Comes out to almost $5,000 per person when you got a population of 350, 370 million people, whatever we got here. So when he said that they were basically, wasting all their money on their military while the Iranian people suffer, it's like he was actually talking about himself and us. And it's just ridiculous that he even said so. It's like, who is this? This guy is not smart. He's a defense secretary, and he's like, this is bad. It's super bad. Am I missing any super chats here, guys? I don't think I have anything. I think I got to a lot of them. Oh, I actually did miss one from Eddie. I'm sorry, man. I see this one right here. Breaking: Israel is concerned that Trump may stop the war suddenly, so Netanyahu instructed the IDF to wipe out Iran's arms industry within 48 hours. Interesting. So, yeah, and I'm actually going to show you guys an article here. Apparently, there is some kind of beef now starting to potentially form. God willing, by the way. I pray to God that this administration finally wakes up and says, "Man, I'm done committing suicide for Bibi." I really hope that they do. But thank you for that super chat, Eddie. I appreciate you, man. God bless you, bro. But yeah, I actually have an article right here. There's some kind of a break going on between Bibi and Trump in regards to regime change. Believe it or not, Trump no longer really believes in regime change. Thank God, because he's not going to get it now. If that was the plan originally, this is like the worst way to do it. And if you want regime change, you're going to have to put boots on the ground and force the United States into something that's going to be far worse than Vietnam. I promise you. It's going to be a disaster, and this is going to last years. Just so you guys understand, Iran, like I said, we were talking about the topography. It's basically a fortress, the entire country. It's surrounded by mountains everywhere. During the summer, we're heading into the summer right now, temperatures can get up to 160 degrees in areas of the Persian Gulf, by the way, which is utterly insane. Like, I don't even know how you how you survive that. And so you're basically going to try to traverse and scale these mountains, go through these mountains with massive choke points. Like, this is what they want, by the way. This is going to be an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. Did I miss another one? U.S. just deployed. I know. I got that one. All right. That was the other one. So I got that one, Eddie. Thank you, man, for the super chat. So this is interesting. So Iraq. Let's talk about Iraq real quick. So after 20 years, 20 plus years, we went and we fought this war. We took out Saddam. We tried the regime change thing that didn't work out so well there. Now that country has absolutely turned on us. I do know that they're kicking us out of our military bases there. They apparently, there was a commander, Eddie and I actually talked about this. There was a commander that said, "Hey, we're not going to shoot at you. Just get your stuff and get out of here." And the minute we got our forces out of that base and left, we immediately bombed him in that location and killed him. This is how we negotiate. This is why nobody wants to talk to us now. This is absolutely despicable. But anyway, airstrikes kill 15 Iran-backed troops in Iraq, targeting headquarters and leader. Popular Mobilization Forces head Falih al-Fayyad was, I butcher that guy, sorry, was not present when his residence was hit. Command headquarters in Anbar was targeted targeted while personnel were on duty there. Airstrikes in Iraq killed 15 members of Iraq's umbrella group for Iran-backed Shiite militia on Tuesday, the deadliest attack on the group since the Iran war began. The Popular Mobilization Forces, part of Iraq's regular armed forces, but also include brigades belonging to Iran-backed groups, blamed the strike that killed the commander and the 14 other fighters on the United States. Iraq has been pulled into the war triggered by Israel and the United States striking Iran on February 28th, in which it has since engulfed much of the region. PMF leader, we'll just call him PMF leader, I'm not going to try to say his name again, was not present when his residence was hit in the northern city of Mosul, which he uses only during visits to the city, according to two security sources. The dead include PMF's operations commander in the province. Later on Tuesday, a large crowd of angry mourners carried his coffin and portraits of him through the streets of Baghdad. The statement said U.S. forces had targeted a command headquarters in Anbar while personnel were on duty. The security sources said that the strikes there hit during a meeting attended by senior commanders. On Tuesday, the PMF urged political forces to take responsibility and confront these repeated American violations. 30 other people were wounded. Security and health sources said, that some of the wounded were in critical condition and the death toll could rise. Reuters filmed ambulances bringing the wounded to the hospital in the regional capital Ramadi during the night. The PMF, known in Arabic as Hashad al-Shabi, is an umbrella group of mostly Shiite paramilitary factions that was formally integrated into Iraq's state security forces and includes several groups aligned with Iran. In autonomous Iraqi Kurdistan, a ballistic missile attack killed 6 Peshmergas on Tuesday, with the region accusing Iran of conducting the first such deadly attack since the war began. Although close to Washington, Iraq's Kurds have sought to maintain neutrality in the Iran war after their relations with the Islamic Republic had warmed in recent years. So neither the United States nor Iran commented on the accusations. Last week, the Pentagon acknowledged that combat helicopters had carried out strikes against pro-Iran armed groups in Iraq during the current conflict. Tehran-backed armed groups have launched attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and the U.S. embassy since the United States and Israel launched their war on Iran February 28th. The conflict has spilled beyond Iran's borders, with Tehran launching strikes on Israel, the Gulf Arab states hosting U.S. military installations, while Israel has carried out attacks in Lebanon following cross-border fire by Iran-aligned Hezbollah. So Iraq is a war zone. We needed to move out of there, and what they're now saying is that, let me see if I could pull this up real quick. Yeah, Iraq inches closer to entering war, authorizes PMF to retaliate after U.S.-Israel strikes kill fighters in Anbar. So this is kind of the continuation here. This is how the escalation happens. So Iraq's Ministerial Council for National Security has authorized the Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF, and other security agencies to exercise self-defense and respond to any attacks targeting their personnel or facilities amid escalating regional tensions. In an emergency session chaired by Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, the council also ordered the enforcement of arrest warrants against individuals and groups involved in attacks on security institutions, civilian sites, and diplomatic missions, with instructions to publicly identify those responsible. The Iraqi government also announced that it will summon the U.S. and the Iranian envoys in Baghdad to deliver a formal protest over attacks targeting Kurdish Peshmerga forces and the popular. See, this one says that we attacked the Kurds there, even though, the other article, they wanted to blame it on Iran. They said they didn't know. So there's a lot of false flags going on. But yeah, Iraqi government also announced that it's going to summon the U.S. Okay, summon the U.S. The decisions come as U.S.-Israeli strikes intensify across Iraq, targeting PMF positions. On Tuesday, airstrikes hit a PMF command headquarters. This is the one in Anbar. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Since the war in Iran began on February 28th, PMF sites have reportedly been struck across multiple provinces, including Baghdad and Babylon in the Babylon province, further deepening Iraq's involvement in the widening regional conflict. In a related development, Khatib Hezbollah, a key faction within the PMF, announced on a 5-day suspension of attacks on U.S. embassy in Baghdad. The group said that the pause, now extended, was conditional on an end to the strikes on residential areas and Israeli military operations in Lebanon. Iraqi sources said that the move followed mounting domestic and international pressure. The council's decision underscores Iraq's growing dilemma as the conflict expands beyond its borders. While the PMF is formally part of the country's security apparatus, several of its factions have launched drone and rocket attacks on U.S. targets in retaliation for ongoing strikes that have also killed senior commanders. So, yeah, after 20 plus years, we lost Iraq, and now they're our enemy again. And now they're most likely going to enter the war to help Iran. I don't know how we won any of the. We haven't won anything. This is U.S. foreign policy at its best, apparently. Everything we attempted to do. Afghanistan, we withdrew, left the Taliban $90 billion worth of equipment. Taliban's back in control of Afghanistan. Iraq is now officially our enemy. We're never going to go back into that country. Iran's our enemy. How long before the other Arab states finally say, hey, you clearly can't protect us, and we're out. We want you out of our countries. That's the reality. That's what we're facing. We already have NATO members that they don't want to enter this war. They're like, dude, you guys started this. We didn't ask for this. Our economies are suffering. I can't see the heart of the deal here. This is a disaster. Let me look at some of these comments. Ford and Lincoln are out. Yes. Silva Ogre. Yeah, that's yeah. Ford and Lincoln are out. They're getting repaired. Oh, wait. What about Mercury? Yeah, that's a good joke, actually. Wish they had a Chevy, laugh out loud. So, nothing like a draft dodger threatening other people who will fight. Andre, yeah, you're right. 100%. You know, he dodged the draft, right? Trump, we're talking about Trump here. Yeah, he dodged the draft during the Vietnam War. He had shin splints, all sorts of stuff. And now when they actually asked him about that the other day, they're like, you know, aren't you afraid of getting another Vietnam? And he's like, oh, I don't care. He's like, it's totally fine. Sure it is. When you send other people's sons and daughters to go and die for Israel. Absolutely insane. Robo Mechanic, you're good. Let me see here. Thanks for mentioning that fact, brother. Yeah, okay. Greater Israel Project. Yep. Imperial Eagle. Yeah, it's all for the Greater Israel Project. They want to take more land. This is all for them. Jared the Troll, Steve the Hobbit. Yep. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to some of these. So, yeah. No, we already gone through all this. How many people do we have in here now? Oh, wait a minute. Look at that. I see something popping up over here finally. We got 33? Yeah, we got 33 people in here right now. All right, Eddie. We got another super chat. Thank you so much, Eddie, man. You're like, dude, that's so awesome. Thank you for blessing this channel, man. Thank you for blessing me. You're going crazy with these super chats. I really appreciate it. Tulsi Gabbard's resignation is imminent. Say people close. Yep. Announcement as early as next week. She has a constant. And yeah, so yeah, that's interesting. So Tulsi has been like the most anti-war person for the longest period of time. Okay. She served in the military. And by the way, most of the people against this are the people that understand the reality of what wars actually do and how bad they are. Tulsi, I mean, she was selling shirts about like not going to war with Iran. Like, you know, last summer she said that, you know, they weren't a threat. And then obviously we hit the nuclear plants and they said, yeah, we destroyed all the nuclear capability. And then after Joe Kent's resignation, you know, she obviously had to take a stand for the Trump administration. I think they forced her. I mean, if you read what she wrote, it seemed like she was totally under duress. But then she testified in front of Congress, and that didn't go well at all. That was actually horrible. And you could tell that she was having a very, very difficult time lying for this administration. And so, you know, we should pray for her, by the way, that she does the right thing. And I do believe that Tulsi is, I believe that. I think she's going to resign. And which means this administration's falling apart. You know how bad this looks, by the way, that your top officials are literally resigning over this massive level of stupidity that you unleashed on the American and not just the American populace, but the world's populace. It's an absolute disaster. I hope she comes clean, like Joe Kent. I hope she says that, you know, the administration forced her to lie under testimony because it's not her fault, you know, that she was under duress. I hope that's the case, because she's going to have to kind of make up for that. The fact, I mean, you know, again, I think she was under duress saying what she said about Joe Kent. But, you know, you have, and then we'll see what MAGA does, by the way, with attacking her next, right? Because they're attacking everybody, right? You got guys like Brandon Tatum out there, Officer Tatum, you know, big Officer Tatum. He called Joe Kent a coward, which is just wild to me. Joe Kent has 11 combat deployments as a special operations soldier, U.S. Army Green Beret. You know what 11 combat deployments is, by the way? Most people don't make it 11 years in the military. He has 11 combat deployments. I want that to sink in, okay? Then he was running the CIA's top paramilitary group inside of the CIA, running various, you know, missions with them, okay? So, like, let me tell you who Joe Kent is. If there's anybody that ever fits the description of like Steve Rogers or Captain America, the super soldier, that's Joe Kent. And then you got guys like Officer Tatum, who's an absolute idiot, okay? He comes out and calls him a coward. Really, bro? Like, you should go sign up right now. Since you love Israel so much, stop with the podcast, go and sign up, go and fight for Israel, bro. Go be a hero, for real. Don't hide behind the mic in the podcast anymore. Go be a real American hero or a real American zero. I don't know. But yeah, Eddie, thank you, man, for the 999 super chat. I hope so. I hope she does resign. I've heard some of those reports as well, so we'll see. Hopefully she does the right thing. Yeah, I've confirmed that's massive news. Absolutely. Sorry, guys. I've been dealing with like allergies and prediction. Once troops are committed, China will seize Taiwan. Europe goes full out against Russia, and North Korea will antagonize South Korea. 100%. Imperial legal. That's the whole point. And by the way, that North Korea, South Korea thing, what's funny is Iran has destroyed, like, we only have like, I think 10 or 11 THAAD missile defense systems, because these things cost like, I think like $500 billion. Like, they're ridiculously expensive because they got the radar systems and all that stuff. So Iran has apparently taken out 4 or 5 of them. We had to move one, obviously, from South Korea, which leaves them completely exposed to North Korea. And the minute we did that, North Korea starts lobbing missiles towards the waters of Japan over there. Rocket Man goes crazy immediately. So, yeah, I mean, that's a reality. You're spot on, Imperial Eagle. That's something that's going to happen. China's going to take Taiwan. I heard they're in negotiations. Taiwan might just decide the United States can't protect them anymore, and they might actually make a deal with China. I'm hearing that that's potentially in the works as well. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on that. We got, let me see here. We got Tim with a $20 super chat. Big, nice Zion. Okay, but people need personal love, family, fatherhood, 2026 AD, agape, spiritual love, strength, and some tribal bravery qualities. Also, honorable battle was not modern extermination warfare. Yeah, Tim, you're absolutely right, man. God bless you. Thank you so much for that super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for blessing this channel. You always do. Tim's awesome. He's one of my members here that supports the channel, and he's always blessing me. So thank you. Just like Eddie, you and Eddie are like everybody that's blessing this channel. Thank you so much. But thank you for that, for the $20 super chat, man. let me see here. I think Randall, I think when Archbishop Elpido Foros called Trump the new Constantine was a bad thing to say. Yeah. I mean, you literally can't say things like that to Donald Trump because that goes completely to his head. The guy's all ego. So you literally can't say any of that stuff at all to Donald Trump. It's like the worst thing that you can say. It really is. I just want to get to some of your comments over here, and then we'll kind of move on to the next stuff. Zion vote. Who has best government? She's 1986 USDA. Yeah, Tim. Lots of young American women go to Dubai to hook up with rich guys who use and abuse them. Yeah, Andre, you're right. That is true. I mean, some of like the partnerships and things that we have is just crazy. I finally found that super chat in the actual chat here, Tim. So I'm just putting that on screen for you, bud. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy. But I think they're going to kick us out. I think they're going to kick us out of most of these countries. This is going to end badly for us. This is a complete embarrassment. It's wild to think like everything that we were promised from this administration campaigning, right, before they won the election. And then it looked like they were kind of off to like a decent start for about 2 months and then complete 180, right? Obviously, he was compromised. We know that I got to be careful what I say here on this platform, but we know about the EP files, right? And a lot of that stuff came out just this last week, new information that was unredacted, and Trump's in a lot of trouble. And it looks like this is the stuff that, Israel was holding over his head. That looks like the entire blackmail operation. So, yeah, not good. Back to the Iraq thing. I wanted to show you guys this real quick. Yeah, so Iraq to summon U.S. Iran envoys over deadly attacks. I can't believe, man. We think about all of the people that U.S. soldiers that died, that were injured, maimed, disabled for the rest of their lives. And we gave Afghanistan back to the Taliban, and now we're, Iraq is officially our enemy again. And they might enter this war now to help Iran. It's crazy. I got a lot of friends that served and a lot of people that suffered that I know personally. And this is a massive slap in their face because it was all for nothing, which is just absolutely horrible. So Iraqi prime minister, yeah. So we kind of talked about that in the other article, so I don't need to probably go through this one. But yeah, they're demanding a meeting. But it looks like they are telling us 1,000% that if we continue to attack targets inside of Iraq, that they will respond and they will defend themselves. So they've officially entered this theater. So much for a military operation, right? Looks like we got a regional war. This came out today. Yeah, Representative Nancy Mace, she said that she tweeted this out. She said, just walked out of the House Armed Services briefing on Iran. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground in Iran, even more so after this briefing, because they're obviously not telling us everything. But yeah, like it's a disaster. Troops on the ground is certain death. It's not going to be good. And they're waiting for us. Yeah, so this was from the senior defense official, Ahmadi, and he said, for years, we have been waiting for Americans to enter the designated points. And for over 2 decades, we have been practicing for this moment with an asymmetric warfare strategy. Now we have just one message for American soldiers: come closer. He's not messing around. I mean, this is what they've been preparing for. So for us to commit troops here is absolute chaos and destruction. They're prepped. We're not. We're going in completely blind here. We don't even know where they're shooting missiles from. You know, we keep saying, oh, we destroyed their military capabilities. And then they pummel, you know, Tel Aviv that same night. Tel Aviv starting to look like Gaza. So, but there you go. They're ready. He's not the only one. I've seen multiple Iranian officials that have come forward and said, you know, put your troops on the ground. You guys want to fight? Let's fight. We're ready for you. This is not Iraq or Afghanistan, guys. By the way, this is a population of 90 million people. It's crazy to think that we're going to attempt to do something like this. Let me look at some of these real quick. China wants to make Timex grandfather clocks. Tim. Andre, doesn't seem as though we're getting the podcast back. I hope he can get it fixed soon. Lord, help him and me as well while you at it. Amen. Are you guys is that regarding this one? I don't know which one you're talking about, Andre. And that was probably according to something else I said. So my apologies, man. Midnight Light, are you an Orthodox or Roman Catholic? I'm Eastern Orthodox. Trying to be. Let me see here. Holy Orthodox. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through some of these. Eddie, Marco Dubai just got hit bad. Looks like a major refinery. Oh man, yeah. And let's see what happens to gas prices again tomorrow. Oil prices. It's not good. So they just hit Dubai. By the way, thank you for feeding me that intel as we're doing this, man. That's awesome. Should probably check and see if anything else has actually come through here. Yeah, I'm looking at this breaking huge explosion. That's a massive explosion in Dubai. Andre, anyone who believes Jesus died and was risen on the third day and paid the price for our sins is my brother and sister in faith, regardless of denomination. God bless you, man. 8:46 a.m. in Dubai right now. Great way to start the day off. Yeah, I guess that would. It's absolutely horrible, man. Anyone been called anti-Semitic yet? Antiseptic. I gotta say antiseptic on this, right? It's they don't like us saying certain things on this platform. Yeah, I plenty of times. Apparently, you're not allowed to criticize Israel at all, or you're a Nazi or a antiseptic, basically. Brian, 82nd veteran here, awful to witness. Yeah, man, I think it's absolutely horrible. By the way, thank you for your service, brother. I think that, and see, this is the analysis, I guess. Like I said, all my buddies that have served, Eddie served, by the way. Eddie, thank you for your service as well. They understand this better than anybody. And go, throughout the years, because again, we ran a lot of training programs and things that I did in the past, with my buddies. We were doing this stuff for fun, obviously, tactical training and whatnot. But these are the things that we would talk about on a consistent basis. And yeah, once you go through this stuff and then you kind of see what's going on. Number one, I mean, I assume you guys are probably laughing at the execution of whatever it is that we think we're doing here, which is absolutely horrible. But yeah, I mean, all of my veteran friends are like completely anti-war because they understand the cost of this stuff. They understand how just how bad this really is. And It's not okay. Midnight Light, U.S. Navy vet here. Thank you for your service as well. Silver Ogre, I'm I'm anti-schismatic. They need to stop that filioque. Oh, it's too funny. Yeah, any war. Nenad, you're right. Any war, people are dying. Yeah, war is not like it. This is not good. That's why. And the crazy thing is these people like Donald Trump, who have never served, for example, now he's president of the United States. He's the commander in chief over a military. He was a draft dodger that had shin splints during Vietnam. You know, it's so easy for him to try to commit, soldiers into such horrible situations and make those decisions. It's wild. Yeah, disagreeing with the Jews not anti-Semitic. Yeah, I agree. But that's the world we live in. That's what they keep telling us. Midnight Light and baptized Orthodox. Glory to God. Glory to God. Absolutely. God bless you, man. All right, let's go to this next one real quick. So this is the one I was talking about. Trump an extraordinary break with Netanyahu as he slaps down bloody regime change plot with brutal warning. It says he said, "Why the hell should we tell people to take to the streets when they'll just get mowed down?" So he's doing this in response to obviously what they say happened with the protesters in Iran, which we also know was like run by intelligence operations to rile these people up, and then people got killed. And so, they know a thing or two about that. But he's saying that, especially right now when the bombs are dropping, right? Like this is a absolute stupid thought to even try to do that. And by the way, he's not going to get that. Like the idea that Netanyahu thinks that he can actually cause some sort of coup inside of Iran right now is absolutely insane. These people are absolutely lining up to get protection from their government because they're getting bombed like crazy and they're suffering. So it's just a stupid idea to think that you're going to get regime change and a coup in there right now. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this. It said the call came just hours after Iran security chief Ali Larijani was killed in an Israel strike last Tuesday. Netanyahu told Trump that the regime was in disarray and that there was a window for popular uprising, a U.S. official and Israeli sources told Axios. But Trump feared a massacre, mindful that thousands of Iranians had been slaughtered by paramilitary forces during anti-regime protests before the war. Netanyahu and Trump agreed to wait and see if the Iranians would come out during the annual festival of fire without encouragement, a source said. But Netanyahu proceeded anyway, stating on TV, "Our aircraft are striking terrorist operatives. This is meant to allow the brave Iranian people to celebrate the festival of fire. So go out and celebrate. We are watching from above." The rupture lays bare a widening gap between the two leaders, with Washington quietly distancing itself from Jerusalem on regime change, despite Trump urging a popular uprising when the war began. Netanyahu has since secretly convened his generals and pushed for a 48-hour blitz on Iran's top targets, even as Trump moves to nail down a swift peace deal. Not going to happen. Netanyahu convened Israeli commanders in a bunker deep beneath Tel Aviv on Tuesday after reviewing Trump's 15-point peace plan, which is like basically he stole it from Obama and he added a couple other pieces. Eddie and I talked about that earlier today. Let me just make sure I'm missing any super chats from you guys here. No, I don't see anything right now. Okay. So Netanyahu's Thursday deadline reflects deep concern with the Israeli government that Trump could reach a deal with Tehran at any moment, sources say. So apparently, yeah, I'm hearing this. I heard this from other channels as well. I think they're worried about, let's say Washington decides somehow they're going to pull out, they're going to make some kind of a deal. maybe through these back channels or these third-party people that Iran is asking about. And I think Netanyahu's pissed. And it looks like he's probably going to resort to something a whole lot worse, because if America, let's just say, and I pray to God that we do, but let's just say somehow Trump was to finally pull out of this. I don't see that happening, especially with what's going on with the troop deployments. But let's just say that did happen. Netanyahu's kind of in bad shape. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do here. And by the way, I don't even know if Bibi's alive. I don't know if you let me know in the comments if you think this guy's still alive, because apparently they keep giving us AI videos of him. I just want to know where the real Bibi is. Will the real Bibi please stand up? Right? We're going to make a song out of that one. Where's Bibi? Because reports are, he was taken out on March 2nd, actually. And those are from outside sources. Obviously, none of our media is going to say that, but it is kind of weird that they're giving us AI video of this guy on a consistent basis with like multiple screw ups when they're putting this out. Randall, will Jews do have more money? Yes, they do. Anyway, going back to this, Iran rejected so Netanyahu's Thursday deadline reflects deep concerns within the Israeli government that Trump could reach a deal with Tehran at any moment, sources say, and he doesn't want that. That totally screws up their plans for the Greater Israel Project. Israel officials present at President Netanyahu's underground meeting described the atmosphere as tense. Iran rejected the proposal on Wednesday, but Trump remains bullish on the deal, and the ceasefire could come as early as next Saturday, Israeli media has reported. By the way, that hasn't, every time they've talked about this, we end up hitting them. So I don't trust that, but I guess we're going to have to see what happens this weekend. Netanyahu's inner circle is intent on reaching three key war goals: eliminating Iran's ballistic missile stockpile, ensuring Tehran cannot develop a nuclear warhead, and fostering an environment with Iran for civilians to overthrow the Islamic regime. If you do not obtain the three objectives, you will not be able to end the war, said Boaz Bismuth, a member of Netanyahu's party. So they need all three to happen, and they're not going to be satisfied unless all three happen. And so Trump has not touched on regime change in his messaging since the early days of the war, and the White House does not list it among its four official objectives. Destroy Iran's missiles, Navy, armed proxies, and nuclear capabilities. That's what they're saying. So Pentagon chiefs last night ordered around 2,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division in the Middle East to join some 4,500 Marines already en route, as Trump's peace push shows signs of weakening. The president is prepared to put the trigger on the full-scale invasion if Tehran continues to rebuff his diplomatic overtures, according to members of his inner circle. So, by the way, they're not negotiating. So I think this is the way where he's just going to say, oh, well, they didn't want to listen, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think they're prepping for that. And because his terms are ridiculous. I mean, I have them here. Let me see if I can find those real quick. I'm going to give you the main ones. Got to give credit to Eddie because he posted this on his Facebook today, and the sources from the AP. So the U.S. wants to dismantle major nuclear sites, Natanz, Fordow, etc., zero uranium enrichment plus permanent no nukes pledge, scrap ballistic missiles program, which is just utterly insane. Like, why would they get rid of their defense systems? Like, you want them completely defenseless. No one's going to do that. Cut all funding and arms to proxies, Hezbollah, Houthis, etc. Full reopen Strait of the Hormuz for free shipping. Full IEAA access everywhere, which they already had. That's dumb that we're even asking for that again, especially after we did what we did right now. Iran wants ironclad, guarantees the war never restarts, full reparations for every bit of damage that we've caused, end hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon and Iraq, and then international recognition of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, including possible fees. They're saying, hey, we're going to own the strait going forward, and you're going to pay us money to get that oil out of there. And so to sum it up, the U.S. is basically give up your weapons first, then we're going to talk. And Iran is saying stop attacking and pay us first, then maybe. And so we have zero common ground equals war keeps rolling on. That's where we're at. There's no deal here, guys. It's not going to happen. So Trump, so listen to what this is funny. Trump has a hand open for a deal and the other hand is a fist waiting to punch you in the effing face, a Trump aide told Axios. Yeah. It's easy to wield like all these weapons that we have and, think that it's so easy to push buttons and play with people's lives. But he'll punch you in the effing face, right? If you mess with him, because he's so badass, right? The 15-point plan modeled on Trump's Gaza deal will require Iran to dismantle all nuclear and long-range missile capabilities, open the Strait of Hormuz, and abandon proxy terror groups. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. That's crazy. You want them to disarm. Said no country ever, by the way. Like that's wild that they're even asking for this stuff. But Iranian state TV said Wednesday that the regime had rejected the proposal outright, with Tehran demanding the closure of all U.S. bases in the Gulf, reparations, and an end to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Tehran is also seeking to bring the strait, a choke point for roughly a fifth of the world's oil, under its control, allowing it to charge transit fees on passing vessels, much like Egypt does with the Suez Canal. Why wouldn't they do that, right? By the way, this sounds like a fair deal after what we just did. That's pretty fair. But they're not going to disarm. That's ludicrous to even think that they're going to do that. Trump official described Iran's demands as ridiculous and unrealistic. Well, guess what? Washington's demands are unrealistic and ridiculous. So guess what, guys? No deal. No deal. Which means you're probably going to have to commit ground troops. And that's the worst possible thing that could happen here. Tehran is also seeking to bring the strait, choke point, roughly a fifth. We already talked about that. U.S. and Iranian diplomats have not spoken through direct contact and instead communicate via Middle Eastern intermediaries from Egypt, Turkey, and Pakistan. Saudi Arabia has made clear that ceding control of the Strait of Hormuz is a non-starter, with Riyadh urging Trump to stay in the fight. Well, it's easy for them to say that, right? Everybody wants to use U.S. forces, let U.S. soldiers die, let the U.S. spend their money, let all this stuff happen, make sure that, our objectives are met. The Saudis are crazy too, by the way. That's like a full-on dictatorship that, we support. That's who we're allied with. So see if the Saudi Arabian people love their government. They don't, but they can't do anything about it. But we support them, right? Iran remains wary of Trump's envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, accusing the pair of backstabbing Tehran in negotiations ahead of U.S. and Israel strikes on February 28th. Yeah, they did do that. I would never want to talk to those idiots again. I don't blame them. It is what it is. Iran officials are pushing for Vice President J.D. Vance to lead the U.S. negotiating team, believing he is sympathetic after privately expressing doubts about Operation Epic Fury. Yeah, I'm hearing that inside, J.D. Vance is not too happy because he looks dumb, by the way, because when he was campaigning, he was promising no new wars. We're never going to let your kids die again in these Middle Eastern wars. This is why you got to vote for Trump. There's video after video of this stuff. And by the way, this is the guy that wants to run for president in 2028. And I think his boss kind of ruined that for him right now. Just like the midterms being cooked right now this year. Doesn't look good for these guys. So I'm hearing there's a lot of people in the background there that are not too happy, just because this pretty much guarantees J.D. Vance does not see the presidency. So I don't think he's too happy. So behind closed doors, that's probably right. He's not happy about that. Yeah, I wish I could play this video, guys. If you go to Valhalla VFT's channel, you can watch the video. He breaks down, he talks about the potential for the draft. He also makes mention about the fact that in Ukraine, for example, so apparently they The enlistment age is now raised to, 42 or 43, whatever it was. But when they do this potential draft, they might even change up the rules to get people a lot older. So like a lot of like people like myself who are older, who technically wouldn't be part of that draft, that might not be the case because they might learn something out of Ukraine. Because in Ukraine, they were basically ripping, old men out of their houses and off the streets and sending them to the front lines. I think their enlistment age now is upwards of 60 years old. And so he was talking about the fact that that's a real possibility and that could happen. Matter of fact, the GWOT was the only war where we didn't do a draft. We've basically had a draft in every single war prior to that. So for people to think that that's not a possibility here, that's absolutely a possibility. It's something that will most likely definitely happen, especially if you have like potential, there's reports of potential mutiny and, conscientious objectors and things like that. They're going to need more soldiers, especially if they try to commit to a ground invasion, which kind of takes me into this, deal that I prepared on Kharg Island for you guys. So let's start Kharg Island intelligence brief, because this is what they keep talking about. And, I'm going to explain why they want to take it. I'm going to explain why this is absolutely a horrible idea as well. And most military analysts are going to agree with this because they're out there, they share this exact same sentiment, by the way. And actually, before I get into that, let me look at some of these, some of your questions. Let me get to some of those real quick. My priest has family in Lebanon and is Lebanese descent. I would say that the shin splints Trump may or may not have may stem from being in military academy for school growing up. Yeah, I guess so. Midnight light. Yeah, I mean, it could be from that. It was an injury. He asked three Jews a question. They'll disagree with each other and give two answers each. So disagreeing with the Jew is as pro-Semite as you can be. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Silver Ogre, that's 100% spot on. Netflix Yahoo is deranged. BB Files on Amazon Prime are worth watching. Yeah, the BB Files. If you guys haven't watched the BB Files, I have watched that. You guys need to go see what was going on. So that's the whole thing. He false flagged Israel into a war against Hamas on October 7th, right? The total false flag operation, by the way. That's like a proven thing. You guys can go look that up. But he started that because he was facing jail time for massive, massive levels of corruption charges. And now all of that has been put on hold because they're under martial law. And so basically he's been able to stay in power. And this is why, Trump was begging the Israeli president actually to pardon him. He's the prime minister. He's asking I guess the president is in control of pardons, and he wants him pardoned so he can focus on this war. Yeah, because BB's in trouble. But yeah, if you haven't seen the BB Files, if they're on, I think they are on Amazon Prime now, which is crazy that I know that they try to put it on there. It wasn't allowed anywhere, basically. You couldn't watch this. But if it is on Amazon Prime, even if you got to pay for it, I would pay for it. Go watch the BB Files. Go watch that. 100% watch that movie because you'll understand like who this guy is and why he's in so much trouble. Let me see. 33 people in here right now. Okay. Yeah, 31 people. Draft the president and all of Congress. They go in first. Yeah, Silver Ogre, 100%. Yeah, they should send their kids too, since they want to send your kids. Like, they should send their kids first. Barron should absolutely sign up to go, as well as his sons, the other ones. They should all go. If that's their plan, they should absolutely go. All of Congress as well, their kids as well. Those should be the first. We haven't even declared a war here. This is totally unconstitutional, by the way. I mean, he's working within his, time period that he has in the War Powers Act, but I don't think that's being done correctly. And I pray to God they don't fund another $200 billion for this war at all. So, pray that these, that those that are actually against it, that they do everything they can to stop ground troops and stop funding this lunacy. Yes, and Congress and the Senate. What do we got for here from David? Something that terrifies me is a draft. My son is 16 and a great shot, but I'm not at all wanting that. My 28-year-old is a veteran, and my 30-year-old probably too old. Yeah, well, according to their new numbers, I don't think so. I think they can take us. I think up to 42 now. I think that's the whole point. Or 45. I think they raised it when it comes to a draft. Yeah, David, I pray that that does not happen. My youngest just turned 13 today. My oldest is 24, so he would absolutely be one of those that they would want to draft into this war. And I definitely do not want my son fighting and dying for Israel. That's for sure. I'm done. Robert Malone exits CDC vaccine advisory role. Yeah, that whole thing, Eddie, that whole thing is a mess too. I've been loosely paying attention to that, but like everything that they promise with Maha too, right? Like make America healthy again. That's turning out to be a massive disaster too. Yeah, Barron Trump can go, David. You're 100% right. Survivor today. I'm scared to death that they will implement the draft. I have 2 sons. Yeah, no one wants this. This is when I would tell people that they need to protest against it. 100%. Like this is not okay. I don't want any of our kids going and dying in this unconstitutional, illegal war, by the way, for another country, not for us. Because Iran never attacked us. They weren't a threat. Joe Kent was clear on that. Big sailboat time, if so. Alpine, yeah. I mean, if you got a big sailboat for everybody, we need Noah's Ark. Get everybody on there and just get out of Dodge, I guess. Andre, I wish I could find the article I wrote back in 2014. The Proof of Participation Act, draft in the punks. Interesting. Yeah, if you wrote an article, man, I'd love to see that. You should email that to me. You can find that on my YouTube page. Congress includes, both the Senate. Yeah. I think that's, I think I got to most of those comments there. The truth is logos, Jesus Christ, silver over 100%. Amen. All right. So let me go into this real quick. So Kharg Island, why a seizure occupation scenario is far less attractive than it first appears. So I'm going to start with the executive judgment. Kharg Island is a high-value target, but a poor occupation target. It matters because it's historically handled about 90% of Iran's oil exports. It sits in deep water that can load very large tankers, and it's one of the regime's most important economic nodes. But those same facts create the trap, okay? It's economically valuable only if its fragile export infrastructure remains intact. That's the key here. We're going to talk about more of that, okay? And it sits close enough to Iran's mainland that any occupying force would be exposed to rapid, repeated attack. In plain terms, it's easy to strike, hard to hold, and easy for Iran to turn into a death trap or a worthless prize. Number one, the target is real, but its value is narrower than people think. Kharg matters because it's Iran's principal export terminal. Reuters reported it reported it as the hub for 90% of Iran's oil exports, and Britannica notes it serves as the terminal for nearly all of them. That makes it a powerful economic pressure point if the goal is to disrupt exports, but that does not automatically make it a smart place to land and hold troops. A target can be strategically important and still be operationally unattractive for occupation. I want to make that clear, okay? Number two, Kharg is deep inside the larger Gulf battle space, not an isolated island problem, okay? Any operation against Kharg is really an operation inside of the Persian Gulf Hormuz system. The Strait of Hormuz carried nearly 20 million barrels per day. In 2025, only a limited amount of Gulf export capacity can bypass it through alternative pipelines. That means that the strait is not just a side issue, it's a logistics gate to the whole theater. If the Gulf remains contested, any force trying to sustain itself on Kharg inherits the Hormuz problem immediately. Number three, the distant problem makes naval sustainment ugly. Kharg is roughly 55 kilometers northeast of Bushehr. I think that's how you say that. I'm going to butcher that, guys. On Iran's northern Gulf coast, okay? From the Strait of Hormuz to Kharg, a naval force is operating hundreds of kilometers inside of waters that Iran can contest from the mainland and from dispersed launch points around the Gulf. Even if a landing succeeded, the occupier would still need a protected maritime or air bridge to keep fuel, ammunition, medical support, and replacement personnel flowing. This is the difference between a successful raid and a viable occupation, okay? Airborne seizure looks cleaner on paper than it does in practice. Number four, okay? The airborne concept is seductive because it seems to bypass the naval approach problem. But Kharg's airport runway is only about 1,805 meters. That's 5,922 feet, okay? That's basically usable for some operations. But it's a single obvious choke point on a small exposed island. If the runway is cratered, blocked, or littered with debris, the air bridge becomes degraded very quickly. Once that happens, light forces on the island become dependent on risky rotary wing resupply, contested emergency drops, or maritime access that may be secure. Number five, small island, little depth, nowhere to hide. This is super important. Kharg is a small coral island. It's described as small, and it emphasizes its deep water loading role. Small islands are bad places for lightly armored garrison under missile and drone threat because they provide little room for dispersal, concealment, maneuver, or layered defense. A force there would basically be highly targetable, and every command post, ammo point, aircraft parking area, and aid station would be easier for Iran to map and range than the same assets on a larger landmass, basically. Number six, proximity to Iran's mainland flips the defender's advantage. Kharg is only about 15 miles off Iran's coast. According to, I got this from Time, it's where I researched this from. They had an article on this. This is strategically brutal for an occupier, okay? Iran would be fighting almost on its own doorstep with short sensor to shooter timelines and rapid reinforcement options compared with any outside force. It also means that the island is comfortably inside the envelope of Iranian missiles, drones, aircraft, coastal surveillance, and small boat activity. Occupation forces would basically be living under constant threat from systems launched from the mainland rather than only from mobile maritime threats. Number seven, Iran has already signaled exactly how it would respond. This is key. Reuters reported that Iran warned any attack on its southern coast or islands would trigger a broader Gulf response, including mine laying, and specifically tied to warning to reported consideration of occupying or blockading Kharg. That matters because the answer to Kharg, to a Kharg move, may not only be fight only on Kharg. Iran can basically widen the fight to the entire Gulf, making mine clearance, tanker routing, coalition shipping, and regional energy infrastructure part of the retaliation package. In other words, Kharg can become the trigger for a theater-wide maritime crisis. This guy's a disaster, by the way, and we're so focused on Kharg. Anyway, number eight, the island's value depends on infrastructure that's easy to disable. Kharg's importance comes from the terminal, loading points, tanks, pumping systems, and pipelines feeding it. Reuters and Britannica both emphasize its export role on deep water tanker access. The problem is that this kind of infrastructure is economically critical but physically fragile. An opponent does not need to destroy every tank and jetty to ruin the objective. It only needs to degrade enough of the loading system to stop commercial export operations. Once that happens, the occupier may still hold the island, but no longer hold the economic lever that justified the risk. You see that? That's key. That's why I'm saying, like, it's a dumb concept that we're even thinking of this. This is stupid. Number 9, Iran can choose denial over retention, okay? This is one of the strongest arguments against seizure. If Tehran judges that holding Kharg is impossible, it can still deny the occupier the benefit by heavily damaging export facilities itself or by striking them during combat. Reuters cited JP Morgan saying seizure would likely halt Iran's exports, cut output sharply, and trigger retaliation against regional infrastructure. That means that the occupier's win condition is fragile. Capture only pays if the infrastructure survives and commercial use remains possible. But Iran has every incentive to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the fact that the Trump administration is thinking of this is just wild to me. Number 10, even a successful seizure can worsen the oil shock. JP Morgan via Reuters warned that seizing Kharg would worsen the oil shock rather than neatly solve the Hormuz problem. The logic is simple. Kharg processes most Iranian exports, and a fight over it would not occur in an energy vacuum. It would likely coincide with further Gulf disruption, retaliation against regional energy nodes, and pressure on shipping, insurance, and tanker availability. And they're already canceling insurance, right? So in short, Kharg is not a surgical pressure point in the way that people imagine it. It's a possible accelerant for a larger energy and shipping crisis. So if we do this, this is going to backfire on us. This is a disaster. Number 11, take is not the same as hold. There's a huge difference between conducting a punitive strike, a temporary raid, or a blockade, and an occupation. A strike can impose cost and leave. A raid can damage a temporarily deny. A blockade can pressure from standoff rage. Occupation is the most demanding option because it requires continuous sustainment, air defense, medical support, engineering, intelligence, and extraction planning. By the way, we can't even get into the strait. How are we going to get to Kharg Island? Where are they going to get their resupplies from? Yeah, by air, but for how long? That's the point of this. Kharg's geography and proximity to Iran make occupation the hardest and least forgiving version of the problem. Number 12, missile defense and force protection are not simple add-ons. Even without litigating every single missile defense claim, the force protection burden on Kharg would be severe. A small island with a single runway and an industrial clutter is a poor place to hurriedly assemble a layered air and missile defense architecture. Meanwhile, the defender is close, the island is fixed, and the target set is obvious. That asymmetry matters. The occupier has to defend everything continuously. Iran only has to find windows to disrupt the runway, fuel power, and loading infrastructure. This shouldn't even be a target for us, guys. This is retarded. This is really poor military planning, by the way. 13, blockade or repeated strike options make more military sense than occupation. Maybe this, right? If the strategic goal is to squeeze Iran's export earnings or reopen maritime navigation leverage, then standoff options generally make more sense than putting troops on Kharg. Reuters reported that U.S. options under discussion include not only occupying Kharg, but also blockading it. From a risk-reward perspective, blockade or repeated strike denial operations preserve flexibility, reduce hostage-to-fortune exposure, and avoid turning a small island into a fixed trap for your own forces. 14, the real strategic paradox. This is key. Kharg looks attractive because it's visible, symbolic, and economically central, but that creates a paradox. The more valuable the island is economically, the more fragile and combustible the objective becomes militarily. If the infrastructure is preserved, the force holding it is exposed. And if the infrastructure is destroyed, the force may survive for a time, but the rationale for taking the island collapses, and that's bad. And that's bad. That's just a bad trade space, right? So, bottom line, if the question is whether Kharg is strategically important, the answer is clearly yes. If your question is whether occupying it makes good sense, the answer is obviously much weaker. It's really no. The risks that outweigh the rewards are these. Kharg is too close to Iran's mainland, too dependent on fragile infrastructure, too difficult to sustain in Gulf access, and if Gulf access is contested, too small and exposed for comfortable defense, and it's too likely to trigger a broader maritime and energy escalation. A strike, raid, and blockade can be argued, but a durable occupation is where the logic starts to completely break down. It's stupid. It makes zero sense, guys. It's a disaster. And this is all we're hearing in the news. I pray to God they don't deploy the 82nd Airborne there. Let me get to some of your guys' questions here. See if did I miss any super chats here? Tim Miller, $10. Let me see here. No deep freeze martyrdom with automatic payments. Struggled nukes protection. Russia ever sold them? Not bad. Not exactly sure what that means, bud. You speak in puzzles sometimes, but God bless you. Thank you for the $10 super chat, my friend. I really appreciate it. Maybe you guys can make sense out of that one. Just backing Tim Miller, get to know the truth. Let me see here. The draft is the only thing that would get me to protest again. Yeah, I agree. I would very quickly become politically involved again if we're facing a draft for this, because it's an absolute disaster. Yeah, Kharg's a death trap. It is. It's literally like we can't even get into the strait. Like I don't even know. And by the way, moving from the beginning of the strait to Kharg Island, it's like 500 kilometers, by the way. So that takes time to get there. But you have to clear the strait, and then you're going to have to like travel along that coastline where you're going to all those ships are going to be targeted by hypersonics, drones, all the things. It's literally a massive choke point. It's a death trap. Kharg Island is a death trap. This is like the dumbest thing. They might be better off trying to figure out how they can, invade like the mainland before they even hit the strait. And that's going to be a disaster. But this battle plan is just stupid. And if this is what Pete Hegseth is in charge of, they need to like get rid of this guy like immediately. I understand that he served, but I don't think he's the sharpest tool in the shed whatsoever. The guy, and he's proven that with like every time he opens his mouth, he just sounds like a complete moron. So yeah, this plan is an absolute disaster. I wanted to showcase that for you guys because, if anybody's even thinking about that, yeah, no, that's a no-go. Like we shouldn't be doing this at all. Let me get over here and look at these other comments real quick, see if I missed any super chats. Did I miss any super chats? That was Tim's. Thank you again, Tim, for that. I don't think I'm missing any other super chats. Yeah, okay, Kharg's a death trap. Costa Kharg versus Costa creating other routes. I mean, Silver Ogre, yeah. We're just blowing money. I mean, $1 billion a day. So I don't know how long we can keep this up. We're almost $40 trillion in debt. God's kingdom grow, win, Timya. Amen. Iran is in Venezuela. Yeah, Andre, I know. Like that. Eddie and I talked about that. We talked about how like, we were like so successfully able to like just like march into Venezuela, capture and kidnap Maduro and get out of there. Yeah, this is not the same thing, clearly. And the fact that our military and our intelligence community, like misjudged this, and we just went in so carelessly because, Israel told us to, it's just wild to me. I don't even know if we have anybody smart enough. Like, where are our smart military people? They must be fired. I think that's what they did. I think they fired the smart ones, and now, everybody that's in charge right now is a complete moron, because this makes no sense. These people don't know what they're doing. I never served. I'm a student of military tactics. I've studied this stuff, and I'm just like, some of these people apparently went to like war colleges, and I don't know. I don't know. It's wild. If all of us parents whose kids would be drafted come together to protest the draft, it may encourage them to end the war when they realize we won't supply the cannon fodder. Survivor. I hope so. I think there was protests during Vietnam and all that stuff. I don't think that worked out so well. And then, we lost 58,000 soldiers in Vietnam. I pray that's the case. That's what we should. And I got a little prayer list for us afterwards, but yeah, we need to be praying for these people to like find a brain. I don't know. Who would God want drafted, Tim? Yeah, I don't think anybody, especially for these wars. Draft sweet Lindsey Graham, Andre. Yeah. Yeah. Send that woman, Lindsey Graham, senator from South Carolina. Did I say woman? Man, woman. Man, woman. Woman. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, send Lindsey Graham, the neocon. The one that, by the way, has been going behind our backs and speaking to Benjamin Netanyahu as a United States senator. By the way, you know what that is? That's treason. Literally. This guy's serving a foreign interest over the United States of America. And then he comes, it seems like he's the one that's then really pushing Trump to do what Trump does. Apparently this guy who was a never Trumper, back in the day is now like the guy that has the presidency here. And so he makes the plans with Bibi, and then he comes over here and tells Trump what to do. Absolutely crazy. Better management, education, cooperation may still work, Tim. I hope so. I don't even know what we're going to do at this point. At this point, considering this guy's ego, like I would just say he needs to just declare victory. Just be like, it's over. Just pull out, bring everybody back home, pull out of the Middle East, be like, we won the war, guys. I would take that just to end this madness so that he can at least then focus on how to deal with the economic fallout that's going to severely damage the United States of America and other world economies, by the way. That's what they need to be focusing on. Tim, I thought I saw AI making donations. Not to me, man. Putting troops on Kharg makes them sitting ducks. Silver Ogre, yep, 100%. It's just a disaster. They could just load up a bunch of troops on there, and Iran could just take out their own island. Take out a couple of those oil tankers and watch that burn and see how fast those people can sit around on that island. They can't. And where are they going to go? How are they going to get off that island? We can't get any ships or boats into that area at all. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to bring, I guess they could bring in helicopters to get them out of there. I don't know. We as men have to come together and restructure our government. Should have been done probably a long time ago, Andre. Yeah, because there's really no political solutions left. Zero. Both parties are cooked. And if anybody's still like falling into that level of tribalism and idolatry, I don't know what to tell you. Never put a bureaucrat in charge of fighting men. Silver Ogre, 100%. I agree. Andre, the Persians aren't stupid people. Yeah, that's a great point. No, they're not. They're actually very high IQ people, and they've been around for like thousands of years. Like the fact that, we don't even understand that, like that just shows the level of pride and arrogance and hubris that the United States government and this administration has. Like, I don't even think they realize who they're dealing with. These people have been around a lot longer than the United States of America. We're a blip on the radar. God can provide the best custom answered. He likes to help when we listen. Amen, Tim. 100% right. Decentralize the government. Andre, yeah, I agree. Yeah, we got way too big. This has turned into something entirely different that the founders never even envisioned would happen, or they didn't even want it to happen. Andre's in violation of the Logan Act. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Lindsey Graham, 100%. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, look how cooked we are. Like, we don't even have like an enforcement mechanism to deal with this stuff, which is just crazy to me. I don't get it. That's how bad it is in the United States of America. Am I missing any super chats here? Let's see. I think I got to all of them. I wish they would give it to me in one section on here. I got to figure out how to use this, guys. I'm sorry. I think I got them all so far. Yep, I don't think I'm missing any. You guys have other questions? What do you guys tell me what you guys think? What's going to happen? Let's play a game of what happens this weekend. We going to reach a peace deal, or are we deploying troops? They never enforce a Logan because they're all compromised. You're right. I mean, they're all cooked. That's what I'm saying. We're so cooked. It's wild. And for the remaining MAGA that are like, you see like some of the influencers like Ryan Fournier and David Harris Jr. and these guys, and they're like winning. It's just like, we're not winning anything, dude. We're literally losing in every metric, which is wild. I was massively opposed to and couldn't stand Barack Obama, and I hate to admit this, but objectively, he was better in every single metric across the board compared to this administration. Sorry to say that. And I couldn't stand Obama. I don't know. And MAGA's like, winning. I don't know. And by the way, most of those influencers, let's be honest here. If you look at their ratings, these guys have like, no one's listening. Like Shapiro's like buying views on YouTube. You got, Brandon Tatum's got over 4 million subscribers and he can barely hit, 50, 60,000 views per video. Obviously I'm not claiming anything here. I'm a super small channel. I mean, I'm lucky if this thing even gets 1,500 views in the next couple of days, but I only got 7,500 subscribers. But these guys are absolutely cooked. All of them. Dan Bongino, that dude's done. I don't know if you guys saw that video of Dan Bongino the other day. That was absolutely horrible. All right, we got a $10 super chat, 99 super chat from Eddie. Thank you. God bless you, man. You have really blessed me tonight, man. You and Tim and everybody. God bless all you guys. The reason why the U.S. could never do a blockade is because of all the energy that would be cut off from the rest of the world. Yep. We're going to cut off what little oil is making it to India or we are going to cut off what little oil is making it to India or Asia. Yeah, and that's a possibility. So yeah, that you're right. I mean, that's not even an option. So again, Kharg Island is, to me, it's out of the picture, guys. There's literally no point to even attempt to do this. There's no benefit. None whatsoever. And a blockade would only make us look worse. Is that what you're trying to say, Eddie? I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, it would only make us look worse. It doesn't benefit anybody. Yeah, there's no point. There again, this is just like, if there's ever a book written in the future on like the dumbest military tactics ever, I think this is like this what takes the cake. Like, if they ever make like don't do this in war, this is going to be the example that they're going to use, because this is absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of people are forgetting, like, you get these weirdos in like MAGA, like, oh, we're going to decimate them. Let's get the tanks out there. Like, look at the tanks in Ukraine. Eddie and I talked about that earlier. Like, people don't understand like where warfare has actually gone. Look at the drone tactics used in Ukraine. You got guys in Ukraine that are rolling up to tanks on e-bikes that you can't even hear, right? Because they don't have a motor. They're literally, they got videos of this stuff. They're rolling up to the tanks and they're like literally putting a satchel on it, and then they're bouncing. They don't even know that the guy showed up there, and they're blowing tanks up. Like, heavy armor is pretty much out of the picture at this point on where like tactics have actually gone and how they've evolved. Like, there's a lot to learn in the Ukraine war. And Iran is doing the same thing with drone warfare right now. Like, it's just, things have changed. This is not like, the year, 2001, 2002, 2003. Like, everything has changed. And you're dealing with a far more technologically capable adversary with a massive stockpile of ballistic missiles, hypersonics, the largest arsenal of drones that probably exists. Like, I mean, they've been preparing for 40 years, and they're killing us with this stuff. So thank you for the super chat, Eddie. God bless you, man. All right, so back to my question. Survivor says, I think they will send in troops. Yeah, man, I pray that they don't. And you're talking about it, you're talking about like a massively prolonged conflict. Like, we could, so I think I was going to say this earlier, and I think I moved on to something else. I didn't make this point. During the Iran-Iraq war, 1980, right? This was after the Iranian Revolution, and they were pretty weak or whatever. But just to show you the terrain in Iran, I think Hussein sent in something like, man, I forget how many troops, 70,000 troops. He had like over 1,000 tanks. Like, obviously he was armed by the U.S. at the time, and in 2 years, Iraq was pushed all the way back to Iraq. They were done. And then Iran continued that war for another 6 years afterwards. They just outlasted them. They're built to outlast us 100%. That's literally what and so they've learned through all of this stuff. They did it back then. So we put troops on the ground. This is going to last a long time, and it's going to be one of the bloodiest conflicts in American history, I promise you. And then we got to ask, at what point do the other countries decide to enter that theater, right, against us? Right now, Russia and China are making a lot of money, and, they're just waiting for us to just, completely, use up all of our stockpiles, put us in a massive economic collapse situation, the end of the petrodollar potentially. And, at what point do they decide to move in, right? They get to just mop up at that point. I don't know. Like an old saying goes, we're always fighting the last war. Yeah, Andre, you're right. It just never ending wars, man. Like we've been in a constant state of war, like ever since what? After World War II? Like this is crazy. I don't know. I just don't see I don't see how this ends well for the United States at all. Like it's wild to me. No more Queen of the Battle, heavy motor. Yeah, I mean heavy armor. Yeah, heavy armor's out of the picture. Like literally, I mean guys on e-bikes are taking out tanks. Like it's just crazy. War has changed. I was watching a CIA analyst the other day, and the reporter said, "Well, aren't we like the biggest and baddest military out there? Aren't we the best military?" And he said, "No, we're not." He said, "We're the most expensive military." Let that sink in. We're just the most expensive, and so the economic costs of that like kill us, believe it or not. And that's what Iran's doing here. There was no sound on the clip about Palestine. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You probably came in late to Turum. Yeah. I don't know why. I couldn't get that to work. I'm gonna have to figure that out for the next live and see why that's the case. It was I could hear it here and everything was fine, and you guys couldn't hear it there. I ended up summarizing it for you earlier in the video as best as possible, but sorry about that. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to play this other video because this new program that I'm using, apparently I'm still stupid and I can't figure it out just yet. I truly believe the Russians and the Chinese are going to jump in behind Iran. Yeah, Andre, 100% at the right point, right? And that just takes us out. Like, I promise you guys this, and it sucks for me to say this as someone who was a massive patriot, and I love this country that I live in, but the Anglo-American Empire dies here. That's my fear. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. I pray I'm wrong. I don't want to be right, but this is potentially the end of the petrodollar. It's the end of everything as we know it. It's the end of America as a superpower, all the things. It is what it is. We're very quickly moving into a multipolar world. We're not a unipolar world anymore. After World War II, especially after the Cold War, we emerge as the sole superpower, right? That's not the case anymore, clearly. Okay. And we're entering a multipolar world. Right now, Russia and China are, we can't fight them. I'm going to tell you that right now. You get some weirdos that I talk to, like, oh, we're going to take out China. No problem. I'm like, good luck, dude. Like, it's wild to me that people actually believe that. Man, I had a video on that I could have played too, but I can't get you guys can't hear the sound there. So that's not, I'm gonna have to save that for like the next live. Kharg Island would be Gallipoli 2.0, Eddie. Yeah, 100%. You take it and then you just get smashed. Yeah, it's dumb. And by the way, like sending in the 82nd Airborne, like some of the best that we got. It's like we're all like if we do that, it's almost like I pray that doesn't happen, man. Do you know how bad it would be for us to lose these guys? Absolutely devastating. Survivor, 1 million troops. Yeah, how many of them are going to want to fight? That's another thing, right? Like, how long before you start having defections? I mean, wasn't it in Vietnam that you literally had soldiers that were like fragging lieutenants inside of tents because they didn't want to go out and fight these battles? Tim, $10 super chat. Did I miss that one, man? Let me see here. Let me see if I could find it here. There was Eddie's. Did I miss Tim's? Did I already put that one up there, Tim? No, that was another one. You said another one. Thank you, Tim, by the way. I'm just trying to find it here. You had another one over here. Ah, there it is. I got you, Tim. God bless you, man. Thank you. Another $10 super chat from Tim. Pray for positive, creative solutions. Remember loved ones in heaven to help stay positive, fair about life, thankful for the good past, the present and the future outnumber the past. Amen, Tim. Yeah, we got to pray for peace. We got to pray for the world. Because we're just not in good times. But you guys got to remember something. Christ is our hope. Christ is always our hope. So we see all these things, but we always gotta remember to turn back to Christ. As long as you stay focused on that, you're not going to be like affected as much by this. And then, God willing, he's able to intervene, stop this, give these people some kind of a brain so that they just stop this lunacy. That's what we need to be praying for. So thank you, Tim. God bless you, my friend. I appreciate you. It's almost like all the pointless updates messing up everything or deliberately drive people mad throughout all software at Andrew Vigo. Yeah, you're right. Let me see here. Heck, most Americans couldn't even tell you where Vietnam was. Yeah, that's true too. We're not the sharpest tools in the shed as a nation, are we? I mean, there's just a lot of like really stupid people in this country. And that's why this government is able to just pull this over and do the things that they're doing. It's because there's a lot of people in this country that are not smart. And it's just, they don't get it. That's why you see these weirdos are like, yeah, bomb them. And you're like, and then the same guy, by the way, is like, why's the gas prices going up? It's like, dude, I can't. I can't. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's comedy. It really is comedy at this point. It's hilarious. Victory eternal in Christ. Amen, Vigo. 100%. Andre, and they're proud of being stupid. Yeah, I mean, for real. Like, that's the weird thing. It's just like, I would be embarrassed. It's just why they read nothing. Like, they don't read anything. They don't they just see, all they do is subscribe to those MAGA influencers who are cooked after all of this. When Trump goes away, these guys are done. No one's listening to them. They're finished. They have no careers left. God bless them. So that's the best I can say for them. But that's who they're listening to. And these guys have been the worst of the fake news, by the way. These were the guys screaming, "Oh, that's fake news. That's fake." They're the fake news now, by the way. They're literally just pushing the dumbest, most nonsense things. And when you see the people that are worshiping Trump, I had a guy, I watched the video. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It went viral, but he's literally getting the cops are messing with him. He's about to get arrested. He's in his car and he goes live on Facebook and he starts praying to Donald Trump. And he's telling everybody, please tag Donald Trump so he can see this. Please tag Donald Trump. And then he starts crying and he's praying. He's like, Donald Trump, save me, Donald Trump, save me. And the cop comes over, smashes the window to pull him out of the car. This is where we're at as a country, guys. Absolutely insane. Just when you thought you've seen it all, it's it's you haven't seen it all. They surprise you all the time, which is just, I didn't think any of that was even possible. But yeah, that's the United States of America, guys. That's where we're at as a country right now. Absolutely crazy. Patience, education, gun jam, bad shot these days. Eyesight has gone. Tim, yep. Daniel, bravo, bato. Hey, thank you. Pomože Bog, brate. Speaking Serbian, guys. Get a Dunhill pipe and call it good. Tim. Survivor, it's hypocrisy. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm just surprised. Like I have to imagine like other countries are looking at us right now and just laughing at us. Like, I mean, this is a joke. Like, it's embarrassing, to be honest. And these people, these boomers, it's a lot of boomers, guys. I'm sorry to say that. I know that there's some smart boomers out there, but a lot of them not so much. And they've that's usually who I deal with. These people, they'll believe anything Sean Hannity tells them, and then these MAGA influencers, they just like they worship the ground that they walk on, and they'll just believe anything. And they'll come at me and they'll be like, we're winning the war, right? I'm like, we're not winning the war, dude. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you do no research. You listen to these morons that Trump has paid and Israel's given, $7,000 checks to for every, pro-Israel post that they put on social media. And it's like, it's wild. Like, I don't know. I guess we got to pray for them. I do pray for them, by the way. You guys should pray for them. Pray that God opens their eyes and that they see the truth one day. That's why I try to do with what I'm doing here. Everything that I do is to hopefully wake people up and show them the truth. Andre, I keep hearing Mark Twain in my head regarding these dummies. People may believe you to be a fool, so don't open your mouth and remove all doubt. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't think they even know who Mark Twain was, bro. Like, that's the thing. I don't think they've ever met, like, then they're probably never even read like Huckleberry Finn. It's a great book, by the way. Even the fictional stuff, right? But yeah, Twain was a pretty smart guy. And yeah, I don't even think you know who he is. That's where we're at. What else we got here? Am I missing anybody super chats? Hopefully I haven't missed them. I wish they would pop up differently. I'm going to try to figure this out for the next one, hopefully, God willing. So yeah, quick update. So I'm going to have this week, Friday or Saturday, you will get my Unseen Warfare episode on our Orthodox Canon and Preparedness Part 2. St. Paisios. It's going to be all about discernment and the times that we're living in, the things we should be looking out for as Orthodox Christians. So be on the lookout for that one. I am in the process of editing that. So God willing, I get all that done before I actually leave. I'm leaving on Friday for a small little family vacation for a couple days. I'll be back on Monday, but I do plan on releasing that either Friday or Saturday, have it uploaded and ready to drop for you guys. So be on the lookout for that one. I got to try to at least hit one of those every single week so that we can finish that series. That's what I'm hoping. That way we kind of have that in our arsenal and you guys can use it and I can use it. Anytime I make any of this stuff, it's because I'm learning it as well. I don't claim to be some kind of expert or any of that stuff. I'm learning this with you guys. And, there's things in there that are reminders to me as well. You're going to love this next episode, by the way, when that comes out. So that will be coming out. Let me see here. I'm probably going to wind this down. It's already 11 o'clock. We've been going for roughly, how long we've been going? Almost 3 hours. Daniel Bogti Pomago, you should cover a segment about the holy fire. Yeah, maybe I will. Because we have that whole situation. We're winning the war in Vietnam until we didn't, Eddie. Yeah, you're right. George Burns didn't inhale him. Andre, yeah, we could be doing so much for our country with the funds going to this war and for Israel. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, it's funny when they tell us like, oh, we can't give you guys, free healthcare. We can't, can't give you free college. That stuff costs money, guys. But apparently we can spend $1 billion a day on this war and, trillions of dollars that we've literally wasted on all of these wars that have not worked out for us whatsoever. But Americans can't afford healthcare. That's crazy. By the way, guess what? that country that we're bombing right now, they got free healthcare in that country. Israel's got free healthcare. Weird, right? I actually, a while back, I asked ChatGPT about this. I said, hey, we gave like, let's take the 300 billion that we gave to like, Ukraine and Israel and all that stuff. I said, what would that actually pay for? And yeah, every American would have free healthcare. Everybody would have free college. There would be no hunger in America, by the way. You could literally eradicate hunger. There would be no homeless vets and homeless people on our streets. We would solve all of those problems with just the $300 billion that we gave. Think about that. And that was like the other year. We're obviously giving more and we're spending $1 billion a day right now. So when politicians tell you, hey, we can't do this, that's too expensive, that's a lie. Because they're able to apparently give it to foreign nations and spend endless amounts on the military industrial complex. So it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a stupid notion. So yeah, Andre, you're 100% right. There's so much that we could do for people in this country, and we do none of it. It's wild. Yeah, we've been paying for Israel's healthcare and university. Yep, Andre, you're right. Yep, we have 100%. Yeah, they get free healthcare there, guys. Paid for by the American taxpayer. Weird, right? I can't afford health insurance here. I don't have health insurance. I got to pay out of pocket. It's crazy. That's why I don't even go to a doctor. God will not be mocked, and his holy fire will not be toyed with. Vigo, amen, 100%. They're trying to, I mean, they shut down the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and so we don't know what's going to happen there. I'm hearing some reports that they might open it up for Holy Week. We'll see. I pray to God that they do, and I hope we're not in those times. I did make a short reel on it, and I actually couldn't take it down off of here just because it completely ruins everything that happens for you in the algorithm afterwards. But I needed a clarification on that one. Father Peter Ayers brought that to it. So it's loosely said that Elder Ephraim of Arizona mentioned that when the holy fire would be gone, that would be like the age of the Antichrist or whatever it is. That's actually from secondhand sources. It's not from him directly. So that's a correction based off of the short that I actually put out. It's from secondhand sources. It's not 100% attributed to him. It actually comes from like folklore and from like things that the monks have talked about him on Athos for a long period of time. So we don't know who it's actually attributed to. But either way, we're watching that situation because I pray to God they don't stop that, because the holy fire has been a miracle that's been going on for a long period of time. There's a lot of naysayers about it out there, putting out information, saying that it's not real and whatnot. But yeah, it's real. It's a miracle that's happened for over 1,000 years. So maybe we'll get Father Peter on here one day to talk about that. We can talk about that and talk about some of these prophecies concerning, our current times and situations. So I'd like to actually have him on for that, and we're probably going to plan that soon. At least that's in the plans, I would say. Israel needs more land for landfills. That way they won't have to export all that trash. Not being an anti-Semitic, Tim, yeah. It's a real need for a few parallel levels, yeah. God will not be mocked. Okay, yeah, holy fire, yeah. There's no such thing as free healthcare. Somebody always pays. Well, yeah, I mean, they steal it from your taxes, right? But the point is apparently sending money to Israel and Ukraine and all these foreign countries and spending it on these endless wars is more important than using that taxpayer money to get you healthcare. So Silver Ogre, I agree in that concept. Someone's going to pay for it, but why are they stealing your money? You're not getting healthcare out of it. You don't get anything out of it. You get nothing. You get endless wars of aggression for Israel in the Middle East and their Greater Israel Project, and chaos and death and suffering all around the world. That's where your tax dollars go. Who needs healthcare when you can have an F-35, Eddie? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Can we get an F-35? I mean, I don't know. Like, with the amount of money that we spent, like, shouldn't we be cruising around in like F-35s at this point? I don't know. I mean, you're right. Who needs healthcare? You got an F-35 that just got shot down by Iran, right? That one? I have to work harder on the men on the men's ministry, the legions of Christ, to build the man in the faith. Andre, yeah, God bless you with that, man. I mean, I'm praying that with this, and we'll probably do that in the future. I plan on actually starting an organization of tribulation saints, where we can kind of open up chapters, around the country for men to come together and train and prepare themselves so they can learn how to be better fathers, better better sons, especially for the young guys out there, right? And better Christians. That's a plan that I have for the future, and maybe God willing, He allows me to launch that one day and blesses blesses me with that, so that I can hopefully help other people. That's a plan, at least. But yeah, Andre, if you're doing that, man, God bless you. Yeah, try to get people's hearts and minds where they need to be on Christ, because Christ's the only one that's saving us, guys. Glory to God for that. Be prepared for martyrs in case that they try to stop Holy Week in Pashka. Silver Ogre, yeah, that's a possibility. Things could erupt there, and then Israeli forces can obviously open fire on those people. They have no problems doing that. They're doing it in Gaza all day long, so and everywhere else. So yeah, I agree. Many thanks in Christ, Patriots. Glory to God. Vigo, glory to God, man. God bless you. Yeah, so we should be praying for, I want to go through this prayer list that I put together for you guys. Maybe you can add this to your morning and evening prayers. Pray for peace in the Middle East and throughout the world, for the protection of the innocent and civilians caught in the war. Pray for them. For the safety of Christians living in conflict zones, for wisdom and restraint among world leaders, for soldiers on all sides who face danger and death, for the Orthodox Church to remain strong and faithful during times of crisis, for repentance and the luring of hearts back to God, for our families and communities to remain steadfast in the faith, for discernment so that we're not led into fear, deception, and hatred, and for the mercy of Christ upon the whole world. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on us and on your world. Holy Theotokos, protect us. Through the prayers of the saints, O Lord Jesus Christ, Christ our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. So hopefully you guys can add that to your prayers. Pray for all that. It's necessary in the times that we live in. Hey, remember, in the end, ICXCNIKA. Eddie, amen. Jesus Christ conquers all, and that's what it is. It's what's going to happen. Tim, thanks and praises. Thank you, man. God bless you, Tim. Will there even be healthcare during the apocalypse, Eddie? Yeah, probably not. We're not going to get it now, and we're not going to get it then either. And then it just is what it is. We'll see how we do. God willing, Jesus comes back one day, and he rectifies all of this. He will. He's coming. He's coming with glory. We know that. Andre, thank you. God bless you, man. Hospice Earth Caterpillar Insurance. Thanks, Tim. Yep. So I think that's it, everyone. I think that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you got enough info. Looking forward to doing the next one. Maybe I'll do them more often once I figure out how to use this stuff. It just, my schedule has not been easy over the last 2 weeks at all. Obviously with, family things going on, trying to get things done. It's been an absolute disaster, but We're trying to get away for at least a couple days just to relax a little bit. And then, yeah, be on the lookout for the video this weekend. God willing, I get all that dropped. I should do, like I said, I'm in the process of editing it right now. And I should have that up for you guys. But I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I got for you this evening. God bless each and every single one of you. I pray for peace. I pray that, you know, God watches over all of us, watches over this world, gives sanity to these leaders that don't know what they're doing. So anyway, God bless every single one of you guys. I will see you on the next one. Peace.